All you lovely people out there in drama school, you wouldn't let me in. Don't you remember that? I hope they do. I hope you're sitting out there. And you remember that they wouldn't let me in, you see. I don't want to go there. Drama school's horrible. Don't go near it.
It's time. It's time for Doctor Who Day and your special weekend Type 40 live. We're materializing here with party poppers in hand. No, genuinely, I have. And we're here again for the live stream Doctor Who magazine show all across your view screen in real time on Rumble, X, YouTube, and on Facebook too. All in front of a live chat full of fellow friends, fans, and companions just like you. And the series' 61st birthday. Here we are again, all those flickering images and memories. We find ourselves rather dangling, don't we? But we do have our memories, though, and we do have one another. You won't find us sitting and moping here in the memory TARDIS. No, not when there's first word on an extra Christmas present to get stuck into too. We've got it all to cover on Doctor Who Day's Type 40 Live. Oh.
A very happy Doctor Who Day.
Hello, I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks, and I'm rather buzzing, can you tell? Just when you think it's going to be a quiet day, it comes, Doctor Who Day comes up and slaps you across both cheeks, just like a big wet fish. and here we are again with another live stream. We've got people in the live chat already across YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. Great to have you all here, as always, to go through the past, the present, and the future of Doctor Who on the Doctor's birthday too. I think we should, have we got room here? It's a little bit cramped, isn't it? A little bit cramped, but I think it's the right place to be to rifle through some of our memories on this edition of the show. We've got a panel to bring on as well, some friends and fellow content creators too, I'm happy to say, eager to give their takes on not just the news, but the vibe of Doctor Who Day here in 2024. Okay, thank you everybody for the comments so far. Remember, if you're watching in the Type 40 Facebook group, don't forget to hit the little blue link, and then we'll find out who you are through the wonders of Facebook and streaming or talking to one another the way that they do. So get all that done, and we can start bringing them in. Okay, first of all, got a way better memory than mine, I'm happy to say, but that wouldn't be very hard. It's my mate, Mr. John Yalden.
Hello, mate. How are you? All right?
I'm okay. It's been a crazy day. I can't keep up with the weather. Never mind everything that's going on in Doctor Who. I'm more windswept and discombobulated.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching Dalek Invasion of Earth today, and I've
Very nice.
come back into reality, and it's all popped out, and I've laid out some lovely collections of comic books there as a celebration to Doctor Who Day.
Some reading matter.
Yes.
That we're going to get stuck into later on.
Well, that's it. Straight after the show, that's it. Pajamas on, reading material on, job done.
Oh, we better get down to it then, hadn't we? We've got plenty more people to bring into, including the one and only writer, producer, director, and big old mega geek and mega Doctor Who fan, Ian David Diaz.
Hello, everybody.
Yo. Hello.
Yeah.
Party man. You okay? Happy Doctor Who
Right.
Day.
Just a bit tired, that's all, but yeah.
We'll
didn't even know it was
liven you up.
Doctor Who Day. Did not know.
You
it was
didn't
Doctor
know
Who.
it was Doctor Who? God, blimey. Call yourself a Doctor Who fan. All these memories here littered around in the memory TARDIS. This'll remind you, if nothing else, won't it? Look at it all, Ian.
What is that? Seriously, what is that?
That is the memory TARDIS, my friend. Well, if you didn't know it was Doctor Who Day, you'll be completely out of the loop when it comes to all the Doctor Who news. Happily, we can fill you in on this edition of the show. Another familiar face to bring on. Charlotte Shields is back too.
Hello, everybody, and happy Doctor Who Day.
Happy Doctor Who Day.
Hello.
And back in the woolens as well. Although the temperature, for all you weather watchers out there, it has got a little milder today, I'm happy to say, isn't it? The snow has melted from the other day.
Oh, is she frozen?
The snow has melted, but the snow may have melted, but Charlotte herself has frozen.
Charlotte's frozen. Oh my god.
We'll try and sort of warm her up and get her loose again while I bring on the one and only retro doc himself, the all-American Gary Akers.
Hello, everybody. Dan,
Akers.
I actually got to say, I kind of misunderstood. I thought you said Doctor Who date. So I thought, well, maybe I'll come on. Dan might arrange some nice dinner for me and Karen Gillan or something like that. So, I thought you said date, not day. But
Must be the
Doctor Who Day is a
English
good
accent.
thing too.
Must be the English accent. Never
There
mind.
you go.
Never mind.
Well, I'm thinking that you knew it was Doctor Who Day, and that's why you're wearing the cap.
Yeah. Well, yes, of course, you got me. Of course, the excellent logo.
Diamond logo.
A cap.
on the front.
A cap for every occasion.
No,
That's
it's great to be
Gary
here for
Akers.
this great celebration with you all.
Oh, we've got a hell of a lot to talk about. And next up, it's Who Tube's biggest, most booming of voices here on Doctor Who Day. I think, how many hours worth of content does this man manage to pump out in the average week? I'm not entirely sure. He must be well into double figures. So I'm very happy that he's extended that to join us here on this edition of Type 40 Live for Doctor Who Day. The Rabbi from another planet.
Hello, how are you? Yes, I do like a something. That is true. I am favourable to. I was just saying, you were saying how you prepared all this for your show tonight. I did a show tonight. I prepared nothing. Right, nothing. It just. So I was just thinking when you show Shooting Gatwa coming in, there's a couple of things the Doctor. So whoever playing Doctor needs to do. They need to run. That's where Jodie Whittaker failed. I mean, also act. Like she ran like that. But this guy, they found perhaps the only guy in the world who can't say who. Like, what's wrong with who? Like, he can't say who. What's wrong with him? Can't they just train him?
Can't play the Doctor either, can he? You know what I mean?
It's like when he forces his mouth to know, he thinks he's supposed to be giving oral sex. Like, like what the hell?
Oh,
Exactly.
Steady. Get back. He didn't mean
If
it.
I come back, my internet comes back and I hear Rabbi say that. Now I know the stream has started properly.
There you go.
Can I just say that image of
Shoot is not
Shooty,
Be on the screen with me, right? It was it's like too negative. You're like your normal reality meets my perverse reality. Like living it out reality.
that Shooty video, and it was the same the other day with the Christmas trailer.
Okay.
Is it me, or does his hair look like it's got a blue tinge to it?
It'll be
Oh yeah, well he did that. That was his thing, wasn't it? So that was a deliberate thing that he did. Apparently,
Stupid question. I should have known.
You can put tint.
Are you asking? Does Shooting Gatwa look like a twat today in a different way? Right? I mean, really?
Well, let's have a second opinion.
A very happy Doctor Who Day.
Exactly. He can't say it. Doctor Who, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I was just thinking how you could tell that look, the expression on his face when that video closed out. He had no idea what they'd asked him to say, or why, or where it was going to go. Not a Scooby. Bless him. That's why I'm choosing to see it this time. We've also, we've got a full panel here. We've also got our real life time traveler too, Mr. Matt Pott.
Hey.
Morning, happy Doctor Who Day. Hey.
Happy day after Doctor Who Day to you, my friend.
Yes, it's already been and gone, but I did think about it.
You're thinking of us, were you?
Yeah. I watched Doctor Who just to celebrate, so it was great.
Some of us didn't remember it was even Doctor Who Day, Matt. Can you believe that?
That's because Doctor Who has not materialized since Capaldi, in my opinion. So there you go.
Oh, listen, that
Doctor Who's not
Blu-ray set's awesome.
Absolutely.
How could you forget, Ian, all these flickering memories from 60 years worth of TV history there? I think wherever we are,
That was
Why
coming.
would you do that?
wherever we
myself, and then you threw Jodie in my face.
Yeah.
wherever we are with Doctor Who in the here and now, 60 years worth of stories and monsters and thrills and spills, and the odd sort of cringe here and there. I think we've all had those kind of moments, whether it's in the schoolyard or around the water cooler at work, where the series has made us cringe. It's mostly been for the better. For the better, I think, Charlotte. I feel very much enriched by my time as a Doctor Who fan.
I think the good thing about being around for 60 plus years, you've got the sort of the good outweighing the bad. I think very much so.
Oh God, why?
I'd like to think so. So have you been doing anything today, Charlotte, to mark this wondrous occasion? Because 61 years, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because it's a year after a big number. You could say they're all big numbers from here on, but it's the year after a big number. It's one of the in-betweeners. And so does everything feel like a bit of a come down after the 60th?
Well, I didn't think the 60th really celebrated 60 years, to be fair. It's not like it was just celebrating David Tennant and Russell. So I've sort of been watching a collection of my favourite 11th Doctor moments today.
Good for you.
Yeah, I think because of the 60th, I think they were always going to do a more scaled down whatever. To this year, it was going to be a lot more low key, and that's what I feel like has happened really today.
They can't push the boat out every single year, can they, Gary? I suppose we can, though. We can celebrate it how we wish, can't we? We can spend the entire week getting square eyes. We can take the week off work. I know people who watch Wimbledon, like Wimbledon Fortnight, watch every single match, every single second, take time off work. Maybe Doctor Who fans could do that for Doctor Who week. Make it a week.
Well, last night I binged all of one of the great Who epics, Dalek Invasion of Earth.
Oh,
yeah.
And then had a chance this morning to discuss it at length with my comrade John there. So that's a great story. So that was
Gary,
the
can
way
I
for me to
ask you,
celebrate
do you watch it with the new effects on the DVD or the original effects?
No, this one I just popped in the DVD. I have all the collections, but I just popped in the DVD.
You've got to go new effects, so haven't you, really?
I love the new effects on that.
I do on that one.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it always depends on the story. Some of them I go with the new effects, and some of them I stick with the old ones. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching Greatest Show in the Galaxy right now, up to episode 2, and that's got new effects. I'm like, why? It's so pointless. There's nothing in it that needs new effects. It's totally fine. I like the new edits they're doing, but the new effects are like...
It's like the Remembrance of the Daleks new effects. They're great, but
totally
then I always loved the originals. Yeah. So.
At least you got both versions to watch, eh? I mean, it's not like
what was that, Ian?
At least you got two versions to watch. It's not like you've only got the one. So I mean, at least they.
Although the new version of what's it called again, Happiness Patrol is awesome. It makes that story so much better. Yeah, shame about the Doctor, but there you go. Awesome. It's unbelievable.
Shame on you.
I would love them to do that with Snake Does. Now, look, this thing.
Of course,
they have done it with Snake Does. They did it.
He was charming, and now
okay, let's get things back on track. It all It all started back in 1963, though, with this little beauty, An Unearthly Child by Anthony Coburn. They're at 5:15 on Saturday evening. Their Saturday tea times have never been the same since, whether Doctor Who's on or off. This is another episode that if I close my eyes, I can practically see it playing as I'm thinking, Rabbi. I've seen it so many times. So it's one of those that I'm careful not to overwatch it now, but I did used to watch it every single year.
Adam, I found my memory on it cheated, right? I thought the scene where Ian and Barbara would get into the TARDIS looked one way. Then I went back to see it, it was like, oh no, it's not that at all. Just like it was like I thought Barbara went in first or Ian. I got it wrong, and I really remembered it, but I remembered the fiction in my head. It's so weird, right? Thank God we got it on film, so I could see. But that's
I watched it last year for the 60th anniversary, but I've chosen not to rewatch it this time, John, to give it a little bit of distance for a little while.
I've watched it again recently, and I still love it. I watched both versions of it, the pilot episode.
Oh, do
well.
you?
And it's darker, isn't it? You know what he does. You know his whole attitude. But I do like Unearthly Child. I know a lot of people don't like the whole caveman element when you get to those episodes, but I love all of it. I just love how it sets everything up, really, and I love how the Doctor, as much as people have always said, recently, the Doctor is love. That episode proves he's not all about love. He's going to bash someone's head in with a rock.
I think what I love about everything in that first couple of years, practically episode by episode, Charlotte, is seeing the series that we all love so much very gradually come together and form not exactly a mould as such, because Doctor Who never stays in one place for too long, but become the legend, I suppose, that we've been, all of us, I think, obsessed with to one degree or another since we first discovered it.
Yeah, you can start to see the cornerstones, sort of the Doctor, and companion. The thing that I love is seeing Ian and Barbara sort of first meet the Doctor, because he's so much doesn't want them there. He's trying best to get them out. He's really standoffish with them, and they're quite confrontational with him. So I just love to see that tension. And then, like you said, gradually, the more they do the stories, you see that become a family. And I just love the journey that you see of that original TARDIS team. And that's why I do think sometimes we need a bit of prickliness in the TARDIS setup. Just a little bit, just so it gets a bit of interest going now and again.
Where do you stand on prickliness, Ian? And yes, he's not there. Great.
I will say, Dan, that one of the things, to follow up with what Charlotte said, one of the things about watching them sequentially, which is really enlightening, because as Charlotte said, you can see the development of the characters and the tropes and everything. Yeah. The one thing that is clear to me from watching like the first 10 so far sequentially, Ian Chesterton is horrible at hiding. Because when they're shrunk down in Planet of Giants, where does he hide? The one place he shouldn't, in the briefcase. Where does he hide in Dalek Invasion of Earth? Inside the bomb. It's like, Ian, you're no longer in charge of hiding anymore.
I like it.
He's a cage fighter as well, isn't he? Throughout that first season, without a doubt, he's the amount of combat with Aztecs and other creatures he gets into. He should be like cage fighting now.
That season. Well, what season is the Crusade? Oh, Crusade season 2. Right? He always had some great little fights.
This is what I love about when fans get together, and whether it's like this on a live stream or recording a podcast or whatever, or out in the real world, when you compare your takes, the things that you observe about the same material. Rabbi, whether you're watching it for the first time, whether you've seen it a dozen times, 3 dozen times, different people see different things at different points in their lives as well. I've often found I can go back to a story that I've watched over and over since I was a kid and see something new.
I was just thinking with when Charlotte was talking about how it takes you to from Ian Chesterton and Barbara's journey. It was a really clever piece of storytelling. Like, to start you with this weird kid and bring in the teachers, and then they have a mystery, they actually pay off that mystery in like 10, 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like 20 minutes in, they build up nicely, and they pay it off in this like really interesting little cliffhanger, right? So yeah, it really is just a great bit of storytelling, and also it's very clear that William Hartnell, even though it's written darker at this point, he plays it roughly the same. He gets a bit more playful as he goes on, but he's like, he kind of gets what this show is, instead where a lot of people really don't. But I think that's probably one of the reasons of its great success, because Hartnell really understood what it was, and he said it could go on forever, right? And he's probably right.
Do you think it's because Verity Lambert in particular, it seems like she pitched it so directly at him, and her pitch was so clean?
It could be, or it could just be, serendipity, right? The right people meeting at the right time with the right idea.
I've always got with Hartnell, though, he saw this as such a different role that he was known for playing at the time.
Right.
He was
for him, it was
for,
like,
yeah,
he was able to like really expand him and change who he was.
Yeah, he was known for like the sergeant characters and those sort of characters. And here he could be whimsical, he could be a bit mischievous, he could be the figure for children, which he'd never really done a lot before. So
did he not hate it when he started though? Did he not like, because like according to the film, he wasn't really happy doing it in the first place, and then he got to like it when he was in the park. Because I remember the film and the kids said, "Oh, you Doctor Who." Then he realised that the power of.
I've never heard any accounts that he didn't like it, but I think I think there could have been a period of adjustment from being from pitching that kind of material to that kind of audience after having been a sort of a sitcom star and starring in a lot of heavy movies.
He probably wanted to be doing lots of stuff like King Lear.
Yeah, right? I think so. Yeah.
And he probably felt there was a calm down, but still he understood it was a job. And I think he approached it professionally. And when he took it apart, he saw what this show was, which very few people do.
Yeah.
Right. Like it takes geeks like us, and like there's a certain amount of people in the industry understand it. But most people are like, I don't get it. It's like pepper pot. What? I don't know. They like it. You better make it. I don't know.
Geeks like us and like them. We've got a lot of people watching in the live chat there across X, YouTube, Rumble, and on Facebook. Thank you, everybody, for all the comments so far. We'll be dipping over there when we can. Don't worry about that. We want your memories. We want your comments. We want your comments to whether you found the series in the 20th or the 21st century. A great deal of the time, the anniversaries from times past, they do come bobbing up to the surface too when we get to this time of year, because it's more often than not, it's the multi-Doctor adventures that have sort of thrilled us the most. But I think we've all got our favourites for different reasons, whether they are really sort of serious reasons and very sort of fundamental reasons, things that chimed with our fandom, or just stuff that made us laugh. For a great many people, they'd never even heard of this show until they saw one of these massive celebrations. And I often say that it must look, Matt, to the outside world, the outside universe, outside the Whoniverse, that Doctor Who fans are always celebrating something or another. So is that what? How do you feel about that? Are we too reverential to this? What is basically just a bit of ephemera?
I don't even think we're on the radar at the moment. But back in the 80s and the 70s, I remember Doctor Who being massive for some reason. I don't know why, but it was always loved here in Australia. So,
you had a steady stream of it broadcast daily, didn't you?
Yeah, it was constant. It was constant. There was never a day without it. And that's my memory anyway. I was fairly young back then, but but looking at these like celebratory things, you just looked forward to them, didn't you? I remember being so excited when the 5 Doctors was coming, and
God, tell me about it.
Even we celebrated it here, It was there were little magazines and stuff, like All Out magazines and that, and it was just, to me, that was the height of Doctor Who for when I mean, I wasn't even like a massive fan, you know. I didn't really become a massive fan until my 20s, but I watched it, you know.
For me, right, it was the Pertwee era, as everybody knows. And as far as I was concerned, there was nothing else that was science fiction-y, or if that's a word, or anything that was kind of, you know, like fantasy around at that time. I'm assuming there was, but for me, as watching the John Pertwee era, it was only Doctor Who for me, and it was only John Pertwee for me. Do you know what I mean? And
I think there probably was, Ian, but there wasn't.
Yeah, probably.
But it's just that with Doctor Who, it was the only show that you knew exactly where to find it.
Yeah.
For how long? Most weeks of the year. Yeah. It was reliable. It was always parked where you left it. And I think that may have grown a certain amount of complacency. But because it had this sort of self-regenerating audience, somehow kids didn't get tired of it. Or any children that did sort of move on from it, the next lot of kids was around fairly quickly.
The way I see Doctor Who, I think Doctor Who, for me, I can't speak for everybody else, was like the Queen. The Queen was always there in my life, right? She was on TV, and then at school you had to line up to see her, and you know, she went by and you waved. For me, Doctor Who was like that. It was always in the background. Even when I fell out of love with Doctor Who, when Sylvester McCoy had appeared and I fell out of love with it, it was always there. So Doctor Who's was part of UK life, in my opinion. That's why it's so popular, because it was always there. It was never gone, you know?
I think Robert Payne agrees. He said, good anniversary to everyone. My God. It's one of those things you can type but you can't say. We've got a happy Doctor Who day from our friends at Cinescope Pictures. More on them later on. Happy birthday, Doctor Who, from Lee Smith and Michael Q and Colin Archer, and lots of the same from everybody there in the live chat. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. And no doubt these multi-Doctor stories will be bringing back lots of memories for you as well. But, you know, we do like to feature all of the Doctors on these special Doctor Who Day shows, but never in a way that you may think. We like to be conventionally unconventional on this show, and I got to thinking, when is a multi-Doctor story not a multi-Doctor story? I mean, we kind of had one last year. The 14th and the 15th Doctors teamed up. They teamed up for all of 15 minutes, sadly, to do battle with the Toymaker. So it does sort of count. Of course it counts. Hello, but going properly outside of the box, though, to think about multi-Doctor stories, I had to look well outside of Doctor Who, really. And I thought this would be a bit of a laugh. I think that a lot of people are probably aware of, for example, this movie back in 1953, 10 whole years before Doctor Who started, where we got the first Doctor and the third Doctor on screen together there, William Hartnell and John Pertwee in Will Any Gentleman from 1953. You've got this one, Matt?
Yep. Yeah, it's a network release on Blu-ray. One of their last ones, actually.
How would you describe it to people who haven't seen it? What kind of movie is it?
It's sort of like Shallow Hal. Very much like Shallow Hal, if you've ever seen that movie. A gentleman gets hypnotized into becoming a bit of a lovelorn man. A bit of a joke from John Pertwee there, and unfortunately it sort of throws the I'm trying to remember the name of the guy. George he's one out of Minder.
Oh, George Cole. Yeah, George Cole plays the lead. Yeah, it's almost like an Ealing comedy, isn't it? So it's not black comedy
one of the
as
first
such.
Colour ones too. Like very very early on in the cut, they used to release so many black and whites back in the very early 50s. But it's sort of like a guy is very timid, and then suddenly he becomes very outgoing, a little bit too much, and then then humor ensues. So it's you know, trying to find the hypnotist back, the stage hypnotist to put it all right, you know. And
Got it. Yeah.
It involves money as well.
So it's a bit of a caper, really. I mean, I saw this film one Saturday afternoon, and I think it was about halfway through, Gary, and I just caught a scene where William Hartnell was playing. He plays a policeman in this, as you can probably gather. So he's sort of milling around in this room, and I thought, wow, that's William Hartnell. How cool. And I couldn't believe my eyes. I was about 14, something like that, when John Pertwee just walked in, all nonchalant, you know.
I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see this. I wanted to ask.
I got really excited when the two of them were together.
So did I.
I wanted to ask Matt, is there any like reversing of the polarity in this movie? No,
it's really strange because it was really odd seeing the two of them together and nothing Doctor Who related. And then it's like, wow, is that kismet or what?
Yeah.
You know, is it
great stuff?
It does seem to be a Doctor Who thing that as soon as they've been in the part, and if you catch them like that in their early days or afterwards, you can't but help but go in your head, oh, look, there's the Doctor. Like, I can't think of any other role where actors sort of, once they've been in the show, as fans, we can't almost unsee it.
I'm like that Nick Briggs. If I see Nick Briggs in anything, I'm like, that's Nick Briggs. It always takes me out of whatever I'm watching. Oh, that's Nick Briggs. I don't know. It just can't be he's not Nick Briggs.
A lot of people are very aware. A lot of people are very aware with the fandom of Will Any Gentleman, because it is a film that did get shown on British TV on bank holidays and things like that. It pops up every now and again, but what pops up a lot less, and that was again released by Network. So again, a few people have seen this. Is this episode of Dial 999 from 1959? Have you seen this, Matt? Who's that? So there's William Hartnell, all slumped over, being helped to his feet by Bill Fraser, who appears in Meglos, of course, and K9 and Company. But he's being watched by a tramp there. So they're together, Patrick Troughton and William Hartnell, but not quite together in this episode of Dial 999.
Okay, this is really. I remember in Doctor Who magazine, they had an April Fool's thing about how they filmed this together beforehand, right? And use stills from this thing, right? And I just never worked out where those stills came from. Now you've told me at last, came from this movie. It's so weird. Again, it was this April Fool's thing they ran, I don't know, years ago, like 2 decades ago.
That is available.
Looks like there's Starmer in the middle there, doesn't it? Next to Hartnell, that guy with the hat.
It does indeed. That is available on DVD, but Network have sadly gone out of business, so you have to sort of get it while you can. Really. How about this? Fast forward to 1993, and you've got the 4th Doctor and the 12th Doctor appearing in the Hitler Diaries on ITV. This comedy drama, with as you say, Rabbi, with an incarnation sort of the Master.
Unbelievable. Yeah, wow.
Have you not seen this one, Ian?
No, that's fantastic. I'd love to see that show.
It's a great show. It's fantastic.
I'd love to see.
I watched this.
Although Peter Bacaldi needs a haircut, doesn't he? Look at that. Jesus.
that's a proper Scottish mane there he's got, isn't it?
It's great.
I think
it's fantastic. I never knew these things existed. Thanks, Dan. Yeah. This is something
I
to
think
seek
he was
out,
he was sort of the Scots equivalent of Hugh Grant back in the day. I don't know if the Hitler Diaries has ever got a physical media release, but I watched this at the time. Of course, I watched it for Tom Baker. I had no idea that I was looking at a future Doctor there as well. Same with this, back in 1981. So 1980. I do apologise. This is the 2nd Doctor there towards the back, looking a little bit more like Cole Hawlings from the Box of Delights. But that is the 2nd Doctor towards the back there, with the 5th Doctor in All Creatures Great and Small. Heaven knows what they're doing to that animal there that's splayed out. Yeah. He does look a bit like Hagrid, doesn't he? So, any All Creatures Great and Small fans? Charlotte, you ever seen this? It's the remake's on at the moment.
I knew they were in one together. I've just never seen it, but I knew it'd sort of been talked about. That because I think there was an interview, wasn't there, with the both of them, and they
Yeah.
talked
Yeah.
about how they'd like met each other, and then Troughton sort of gave advice to Peter
Yeah, they were
about the
friends,
role.
weren't they? For ages. I think they were friends for ages, I think.
And there's another really memorable episode of the original series here with Nicholas Courtney, who owns a dog that his lifelong companion that has to be put down. It's a heartbreaking
Oh,
episode,
okay.
but Nicholas
Oh, I bet
Courtney
it's great.
is
I bet you can really
Nicholas
do that.
Courtney is so good in that episode.
Right.
I don't know if I've ever seen that one. Mind you, I was an avid viewer of All Creatures Great and Small back in the day, but several episodes that I can remember, several I can't. And obviously, I had no idea who Patrick Troughton was when I watched that.
Great and Small. Is Thomas Hardy really like totally nuts?
Robert Hardy. Apparently, he was very, very eccentric. Yeah, I spoke to someone who worked with him, and apparently he was very, very eccentric indeed. So Patrick Troughton worked with some more than others. We'll come back to him in a little while. But then again, so did Peter Capaldi. Here he is in 2001 with Paul McGann in Hotel on Channel 5. This was a kind of a knockabout TV movie there on Channel 5 in its early days. Anybody remember this?
No, I left the country by
No,
then.
not that one.
So that's
Unfortunate
12
hairstyle for Paul, though, isn't it? Let's
with
face
8.
it.
Yeah. At least it's his own this time. He isn't wearing a wig, Ian.
Yeah, I guess.
Could have been
it's
worse.
fantastic. I did not know these guys had worked together. It's crazy, right? Absolutely crazy.
Every year we've got to go around these houses.
Capaldi looks like he's about to launch into a Malcolm Tucker rant in this.
Yeah.
It was quite a similar character. I did watch this, mainly because Paul McGann was in it.
Yeah, and Paul McGann's sort of looking like a Emmanuel type character, isn't he?
Again, Peter Capaldi with a past Doctor there, but Peter Capaldi straddling both the classic and the new in this respect. On to the new series, and we've got the 9th and the 10th Doctor together there in Jude, released in 1996. A big movie that starred Kate Winslet in the lead role. And we've talked about this before. In fact, we've even played the clip. But we couldn't not go through this sort of roll call and not mention Jude. It's a bit of it's a tough watch, this. It's a bit of a slog. Have you ever seen this, Rabbi?
Never. And where's the 10th Doctor? Is he the one standing up speaking?
That's him. There's David Tennant stood up.
No. What is this? I have no idea what's it about.
It's a period drama about this woman who lives a very sort of downtrodden life, and she meets a man who I think she has to teach this guy. He's illiterate and has to teach him to read or something. I have seen it way back. You ever seen this, John?
Never seen that one. No, never seen that at all. Unfortunately,
It's not the kind of thing I usually flock to, but I have seen it. Heaven knows why or how.
yeah.
Eccleston looks like he's about to stand up and punch Tennant in that pitch.
No, I think that's what happened. Yeah, he was winding him up in it.
It sounds familiar. I think I've seen it. I think I have.
Yeah. Moving on, we have, so he turns up again. Of course he does. This is the 13th and the 14th Doctors together before either of them were cast. So Tennant does count because he's played 2 incarnations. I can get away with this. It does count. Back in 2012, 2013, Broadchurch was the biggest show probably on network television. A massive success, a crime murder mystery where David Tennant played DCI Alec Hardy. Did anybody watch this? I was riveted by this. I really was.
It's funny, you said it's the 13th Doctor and 14th. Also, who they really wanted the 13th Doctor to be, Olivia Colman, who very wisely turned it down.
We've never had that confirmed, have we? But it is sort of common knowledge. Is it sort of that Olivia Colman was offered it?
Yeah.
It looks pretty nailed on.
I thought, the first season I thought was terrific. The second season was kind of dire, but it recovered in the final season.
Oh, I didn't get past the second season.
Which was the second season was dire, but the third season recovered. It was a good kind of conclusion for the show. So
I didn't get past the first episode, so I didn't really think much of it at all. So
you didn't?
No.
Were you aware of the country being gripped by it? Because it was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was huge. It was. Yeah.
It
Rumor
was
has it.
slightly less predictable and formulaic than Downton Abbey, which I like a lot.
Mm.
So, I'll say that for it.
Yeah.
Rumor has it that was actually going to be the actual outfit Jodie was going to wear as the Doctor. Before
It's been easier to cosplay.
She's literally the least sexy woman in the world.
I wouldn't put it past that. Sadly, I've got nothing for Sylvester McCoy and Colin Baker. Just this really cute picture of them hanging out with a couple of hedgehogs, which I thought was too good to pass by. I don't know what that was for. Maybe it was some sort of charity, some sort of animal shelter. Who knows? But either way, it's a great picture. And we couldn't not feature the guys. I got them here as well, together with David Bradley, who I've got nothing for. In The Power of the Doctor, those were their scenes where they were robed up, if you remember that. But I suppose at least when you look at David Bradley and Colin Baker, they have the credentials of having appeared in the show before they were cast. Colin Baker in Arc of Infinity, and of course David Bradley in Dinosaurs in a spaceship.
He was the best part of that episode, the dinosaur one, by far.
You think so?
I knew that Doctor Who had
I
fallen
liked
off.
it.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
If you got past that, it was a ridiculous premise, yeah. But he played a good little villain part in the episode.
Yeah.
I will say on my stream time, I'm talking, reminiscing. It's a real shame because like the Jodie Flux stuff and like the movie she did apart from the Sea Devil one, they really had everything right apart from the script at that point. I mean, Jodie was never going to be able to play the Doctor, but they had everything else in place. They had like the right tone. They had it was like fun. It was bright. It was just shit at the same time. If they just had good script and like a different lead actor, I always said they should have brought Paul Cornell in just to write everything, right? And he like give him the ideas, let him write it, and he could have hammered like Flux, the ideas of Flux into a workable script, and he probably even put those the cliffhangers.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
Dinosaurs you can't get past Jodie, who's just awful. So I don't know what to tell you. Although I was thinking, I think Shooty season 1 is worse than Jodie season 1.
I don't agree.
I don't agree with that.
No way.
Look, I haven't
getting back to my Doctors, there are a couple of honorary mentions here. Patrick Troughton, for example, appeared with Richard Hurndall in this series. This is Bogner from 1981.
I remember that.
I couldn't not mention Richard. You remember that? It looked like it looks like Troughton's playing a monk. Ian, do you remember?
Yeah.
Can you fill any gaps there?
No, I never watched it. I remember it being advertised all the time.
Wow.
So I have no idea what it's about. None whatsoever.
Not a holiday camp.
No, I don't know. But they look very serious, don't they? Those two. It looks like they're going to get hanged or something, don't they? Or maybe he's his lawyer, and I don't know. Maybe they're in church. I don't know. Everybody looks so serious, don't they? So.
Okay, now I would say Patrick Troughton looks serious. Richard Hurndall looks like he's getting a bit of a hand job underneath the table, right?
You see, you know what, right? You know what? He really.
It's like from Police Academy, right? When the guy's giving the speech.
In the podium.
He really looks like Hartnell there.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
He really does. Right there. Looks like Hartnell.
I love Richard Hurndall's first Doctor. I sincerely do. And remember, everybody, yes, there are people in the live chat saying, but so-and-so was in so-and-so and so was so-and-so. Yes, they were, but did they share a scene together? If they didn't share a scene together, then I can't use it. I can go to Troughton again for this one, though. If we straddle the Whoniverses here, we've got Patrick Troughton with Peter Cushing in 1964's Hammer horror movie, The Gorgon.
That's a great one.
Fantastic. Yeah. Great stuff.
Yes, I love that.
That's exactly the
Peter
kind
Cushing
of costume.
plays a villain. Great.
That's a great movie.
I don't think I've ever seen this
villains,
one.
Really. They're both villains, really.
Doctor Who meets Grand Moff Tarkin. So there you go. Cool.
Well, Troughton's not really the villain. He's like a local inspector who's investigating the death.
A bit corrupt.
Yeah.
What struck me about this as well, Gary, is that it was a year before Troughton became the Doctor on screen, but it was also it was 2 years, sorry, but it was only a year before Peter Cushing played Doctor Who, and look how young he looks in this compared to how he plays Doctor Who.
Yeah. I have unreserved love for the Cushing Who movies, but no, you're right. I mean, when I'm watching like these old Hammer films, or like some of the like 60s, like the ITC stuff, like whether it's The Saint or Department S or whatever, and I see anybody who was in any Doctor Who, I always have to pause it and try to figure out where I'd seen them before.
Yeah. The thing about Peter Cushing, he was really good at playing old people. I mean, you'd see him in some Hammer things, and you see him in some other TV shows where he was like an old guy. And then next you see him like a powerhouse. He looks like a powerhouse here, like he's totally in control. Very good actor, knew his craft like the back of his hand. Amazing actor, so he could play any kind of person.
Yeah, Dan, you need to track this one down and see it. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've never seen it, but I do get the Hammer films mixed up. I'd love them to sort of re-release them all, ideally in sequence, so I could watch them in order, because I'm just a bit funny like that. That's how I'd like to get that in. The outlier, I'm afraid, is Mr. Matt Smith. There, he's not quite Billy No Mates there on the far right, but I think because he hadn't really done a great deal of anything before he was the Doctor with anybody, trying to track him down with any other Doctors is next to impossible. But at least there was this moment, and at least there was this moment too in 2013's The Day of the Doctor. I think this probably trumps everything, doesn't it, Ian? He got this moment with that guy at that time. It's probably a get out of jail free card.
It is two of my favourite Doctors, out of the history of Doctor Who. Love Tom Baker. Matt Smith, to me, was one of the best Doctors ever. So, I love that scene. And when I was in the cinema, I've said this before, I was actually invited to the screening with all the cast and Moffat and everything. When his voice came on the screen, everyone started cheering. They all stood up and they all clapping. I was like, sit down, I want to see the screen, you idiots. They just really exploded. So
you know what, Ian, it's so funny. My theater, because I went to see it with my Doctor Who meetup group, and the theater was packed. It was like the day of screening. They had to open up like 2 additional theaters in the multiplex to handle the crowd. But when Tom Baker's, and it was a good enthusiastic crowd, when you heard Tom Baker's voice, and I'm not exaggerating, the entire theater gasped. You could actually hear the gasp. And then for that entire scene, you could have heard a pin drop. Nobody clapped, nobody yelled. I mean, it was like everybody was holding their breath for that entire scene. And then when it was over, everybody erupted into applause.
Oh, really? Not in my theater. When he said, "I think you might," everybody just went. And then when they saw him, everybody just exploded. It was like an explosion in the cinema.
My whole street knew.
You saw it with and Gary saw it with Doctor Who fans.
I saw it with the cast and crew. They were
exactly normies. They're normies. Industry
normies.
normies, right? But he saw it with Doctor Who fans, which
no. Doctor Who fans was there as well. Doctor Who fans was there as well. So in the two front rows was the cast and the producer and whatever, and the director and Moffat. But everybody else was Doctor Who fans, because you could pay to get that ticket. Keith, because it was my birthday. Keith got me the ticket for my birthday, which was fucking amazing. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry to swear, but it was amazing. Seriously, it was. Yeah. So.
I think what I loved about that scene was I don't know if I've said this on these streams before. That was the first time I proper heard Tom's voice as a Doctor. Like I'd seen clips and I knew of Tom and I knew who he was, but I hadn't watched Classic properly when the 50th was going on. So that was my first sort of experience of Baker properly.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, what I remember thinking is, and this is as sort of an 11th Doctor girl, was I loved how Matt he stepped up. He didn't get overshadowed. He didn't look lesser next to Tom.
Exactly.
And that was such an impressive feat for him, because I think a lot of even some of the greatest Doctors probably would have that effect being in that scene. But it felt like two equals sort of on the screen when it came to the acting and the sort of the weight of both of them.
There was two moments in the 50th that actually, when the audience exploded. One where were all 13, that bit with the eyebrows,
Yes.
the whole of the cinema exploded, and then it was this bit as well, but the whole cinema exploded.
I always assumed,
it was great. It was fantastic. Sorry,
I always assumed that when in Capaldi's last adventure, you'll see that from his point of view.
Yeah.
Right, and just before he regenerates, you'll see him. No, all 13, and no, they dropped it. They never.
Oh, that would have been cool.
And the final scene too, where you see all the doctors.
Lined up
in the
bit silly.
Oh, that would have been so great. I mean, we did get him. We did get him with David Bradley, and that was nice. That was sweet.
Yeah.
But they should have sort of dovetailed that. That would probably have been perfect. I'd have enjoyed that. All of this nonsense, all of this geekiness. I like Cybermat Strikes here. He says I would have thumped anyone who spoke when he was watching the 50th. I think I'd have probably been the same, Rabbi.
It was the whole cinema. You couldn't bump everyone. You know what I mean?
I can remember I watched it with my family, and they afterwards they were like, "Charlotte, we didn't speak. I hope you're happy." I was like, "Thank you," because they would have just asked questions.
Did you speak from like the first minute? You got the Dalek, the war with the. That was just awesome. The Daleks blowing stuff up, and the War Doctor shows up. Oh, and then, like every part of that opening is just fantastic.
Yeah. It is. It's a great Doctor Who because it spoke to the fans. It knew how to excite the fans in that whole episode, or if you can call it a mini film. It was great, fantastic, best thing that ever happened to Doctor Who. In my opinion. So
I remember at the time as well, a lot of the fandom was complaining about it, Rabbi, because it wasn't the full 90 minutes. The 5 Doctors have been 90 minutes. Dave the Doctor was only 75. What's going on? Like we felt shortchanged.
As long as it needed to be.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was very much.
I miss those times. We were on a good ride back then. Everything was going great.
You didn't know how good you had it.
I'm really grateful to Moffat that he was able to keep the appearance of Tom a surprise.
Yes.
And I'm grateful that he was able to keep the McGann return in Night of the Doctor a surprise. And Bacaldi, because I didn't know Bacaldi was going to show up.
No, nobody did. That was a genuine, a real shock. I mean, I'd heard whispers about Tom, and there's somebody who'd been at the recording of Night of the Doctor did talk about that on Gallifrey Base, but I had no idea, not the faintest inclination or suspicion that Capaldi was going to be in it. And obviously there's a character we're yet to meet, but still.
How excited was I, right? I went to see that in a screening, right? Afterwards, I went for a drink. There were all the actors were in another room. We weren't allowed to go into the other room. Went home, right? Turned my TV on and watched it all again. That's awesome. How much of a fan I was.
Awesome.
So many memories, a great many of them. Yeah, we owe Stephen Moffat. I think Stephen Moffat. Yeah, he could be quite excessive sometimes. I think by his own admission, but there was enough sort of love and nuggets sort of tucked away there that. Yeah, at the time you think to yourself, oh, has he gone a little bit too far here? But he never really did anything that damaged the show. Not in that way, I don't think. I mean, don't get me started on the thing with the Brigadier. All those memories. Look, social media has been flooded with people wishing the Doctor a happy 61st birthday, as you would imagine today. So sharing more of their memories, whether they're fans like us, like you were saying, or normies, Rabbi, because normies do watch this show, and that's part of the joy of it, or people that have a very fleeting relationship with it. So over to this one. So this person checked in after being away for a good old year. We heard from Suze Kempner. If anybody remembers Suze. So she was the ultimate, the kind of wasp at the Doctor Who picnic last year for the 60th. And she stopped to send this message. Happy birthday, Doctor Who. It was certainly something to be part of the anniversary last year. Do you think, Gary, that might be a dig? Because, she didn't exactly endear herself to the fans, did she?
Well, yeah, there's still some regulars in our Type 40 chat who kind of, bow at the altar of Doom and, Suze Kempner. But I've got to admit, I didn't follow all the multimedia chapters of this.
Consider yourself lucky.
It was shit.
Look, I'm sorry.
It was shit. The bits that I saw and read.
I'm sorry,
John.
I'm not having this. I'm not having this criticism. I'm not having this criticism of Suze Kepner. Her acting ability in Doomsday was probably the greatest acting performance we've had since Olivier. All right, so let's just drop it here. All right, she's a genius.
Right.
That's the first time, John.
When you say Olivier, you mean Ray Olivier, the butchers at the local amateur dramatic society, who played Widow Twanky.
Animal, yeah.
And also,
Olivier.
I can remember how. I can
Charlotte?
remember how she probably is one of the few people in Doctor Who's that has completely changed your plans, Dan, because we had a stream all planned that night, and then this happened.
Did.
So it all got thrown out the window, and we just spent how long just going, why?
Thank
why
you, Suze. Lovely to see you again. Lovely for you to pop up. I'm a lot happier to see Philip Roy, Doctor Who himself, in the Doctor Who fan film Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion, coming fairly soon, because I know that filming has been continuing apace. Here he is in a brand new picture that was released today for Doctor Who Day 2024, and Philip Roy is in the live chat as well. The 50th was doubly exciting for me, he says, as I was on screen as a surviving Arcadian, and at the end as the 7th Doctor. So yeah, it was Philip Roy in there in the Panama hat and McCoy's outfit, and you can get our interview with him if you hit the playlist there.
Good job, Philip Roy. That's awesome.
Looking good, Phil.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing this one.
I remember you in it now. You're cowering, right? You want the cowering.
That was him.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. I don't even know who you were.
Is that where the War Doctor's shooting against the wall, saying "no more"? Is that scene? That he's in?
No. It's the ending where they're all lined up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And yes, people are chomping at the bit to see more from Phil there as the Doctor. In fact, let's see a bit of him. Let's see a bit of him now. Why not?
This is Philip Roy playing the Doctor.
And I'm Mandy Rose, and I play Jenny.
For the Doctor Who fan film, Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion, this is the Type 40 podcast.
Fucking hell, I tell you what, at least Phil's had a shave to play the Doctor. Not like this hairy sod. Check this bloke out. Look at this. This has been announced for Doctor Who Day, Matt. Now, to be fair, we shouldn't complain about this because we were taking the piss. We were taking the Aren't you glad you came on there? So we were taking the piss last year, Ian, because during the 60th anniversary, there was a Build-A-Bear 4th Doctor, and there was one of the 10th Doctor as well, but not of the incoming Doctor, of the current Doctor. Where was the shining new star? Shooty Gatwa's Build-A-Bear. Well, it's been announced in the last 24 hours, and the blurb says, buckle up for a cosmic joyride with our new arrivals. Our new 15th Doctor is a time-travelling teddy that can't wait to join your collection. That's coming to the UK next year. And this is all very well and good. These are very expensive, these Build-A-Bear things. I know there are people who collect them, and it's fine. But I tell you what, I'm wondering why. Well, I'm wondering why the one on the right, stark bollock naked. Was that something Shooty asked for?
You can save yourself some money by not buying the clothes, and it'll be much more screen accurate.
Yeah, you don't need pants. You don't need a shirt.
You don't need to be wearing.
Hold on.
You just need a boob tube and a pair of hot pants.
You know, Build-A-Bear. Is it when they get the kid to sit down and say, right, can we put? Do you want a heart in this bear? Do
yes.
you want
That's
this?
the one, pal.
Oh, right. So did they say, do you want it to cry? You know, do you want it to stick this thing in there so it
like
can
a
cry?
tiny tears thing?
Tiny tears.
Oh my!
Yeah, you put a water bottle inside, so when you squeeze it, the tears come out.
I got that for Christmas last year.
It'll be fine. Everybody, just remember,
I'm not
it'll
getting
be
that
fine.
One. Do you press that pad on his paw? Do you press it and he says, "Hi, babes, I'm here for fun"? Does it say that?
Oh God!
No, it goes well like honey.
Oh no!
If that Build-A-Bear, if that Shooty Build-A-Bear,
no, John, he says, "Give me the loving."
Is in its anus, right? And you would have to pour it, and it'll probably like whistle with pleasure.
Do you have
I
the
feel
David
unclean.
Tennant bear? The David Tennant bear and the shooty bear, and you have to pull them apart like this. Do they have that?
No, Ian, the David Tennant, the shooty
shit.
bear fits inside the David Tennant one, so you can pull
Oh.
him out.
Don't say
You can
that.
pull
Don't
him
say
out.
that.
Oh, I want something more wholesome now. No. Yeah, some of our friends from Cinescope are in the live chat. And if you missed the show the other night, we had Luke Walters from Cinescope here on the show previewing this Hooligans, which has launched today over on their YouTube channel. So this new comedy drama series that's being rolled out over there by the Cinescope team. Episode 1 is out now. Go and check it out and make sure you're subscribed for subsequent episodes of Hooligans. Thanks again to Luke for your company on the last edition of the show too. You can get the link in the description as well, and please tell them that Type 40 sent you. Looking sideways in time to the Blake 7 universe. If you want our Blake 7 content, our Blake 7 podcast, and our live stream, our pilot live stream that we put out last week, Teleport, now you can get those in the playlists here on the channel too. We know there's a lot of Blake 7 fans. There's a lot of crossover there. Simon Horton's not one of them. No, he's not happy. Simon Horton's not one of them, but we know that a lot of you are. So get some Blake 7 into your ears and in front of your eyes there on the playlists. The Type 40 podcast is across all major podcatchers and on Audible, Spotify, and all those places that you go to get your podcasts. More episodes on the way. We've taken a bit of a break from that for just the last month or two. Our first break in a few years, to be fair, while we sort of rejig things around. But we are coming back very, very soon. So stay tuned and keep watching those podcatchers for more Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast. But this is Type 40 live across your view screen on Rumble, X, YouTube, and on Facebook too. Here for Doctor Who Day, no less, Doctor Who Day 2024, where Doctor Who fans come together both in the real world and here digitally to share, so our friends and family don't laugh at us too much. This is sort of what it's all about, really. We've got this quote here from the father of Doctor Who, Sidney Newman. I always think on these occasions we have to doff the cap to them as well, Gary, the founding mothers and fathers of Doctor Who. Apparently it is.
No,
it was.
That's a quote from the Matt Smith.
Are you questioning my sources? Yeah, but do you know where they got it from? They got it from Sidney Newman.
No, I don't believe you. It's too good. It's like, it really is. It's too perfect. That's not something someone would say. That's a line.
Just imagine him smoking a cigarette with a whiskey, saying that,
That's
with
right.
that pose there.
Are you serious?
I had no idea.
Apparently,
Is that what he said? Really?
Apparently, that was a direct quote from Sidney Newman that was incorporated into that episode.
Wow.
Like the Terrence Dicks thing, never cruel or cowardly. That's been used in the show as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Quite a few times, yeah.
It's a thing. It's a thing. Thank you.
With Sidney, I just always got to applaud, and this comes up a lot of the times when, I'm on, with John discussing the first season. You just have to kind of applaud the vision and the ambition, where anything was possible, in some of those early stories. It's like nothing was, nothing was off the table. It's like if somebody came in with a great idea, it wasn't, no, we can't do it. It's how do we make that happen?
Look at the Web Planet. Web Planet's a great example of that.
It was the dawn of TV, wasn't it? At the time, really, when you think about the BBC, and they were trying everything. And also remember that Doctor Who was meant to be kind of an educational show for kids at the time, and it just developed into what it became. This fantastic show that we all love. So and a Canadian, this guy here, I believe he's Canadian. He was partly responsible for the birth of Doctor Who, which is great.
Yeah,
so there
absolutely.
You go.
The late, great Sidney Newman. He had his ups and downs, and he said a lot of things. I think some of it was more, some of it was wiser and more quotable than others, Charlotte. But you got to. It's the same with everybody. Nobody was all bad and nobody's all good, are they? And I think most people, when it comes to Doctor Who, when you think back to when you think across to Star Wars, for example, it's got its George Lucas. Star Trek's got Gene Roddenberry. Doctor Who may not have one solitary figure in that way, but each of the people who were involved, they should be acknowledged for that which they brought to it, because kind of what you were pointing to earlier on, how the show gradually came into being.
Yeah, and I think that's why we've got such a unique show, honestly, because you've not just got, like you said, one person's thoughts. You've got a whole collective with Doctor Who. You've got Sydney, you've got Verity, you've got the directors that they first had. You had all these people that didn't have the ego and didn't sort of have the thing of it's mine, which they could have. They were like, no, we're going to work together. We're going to create this unique, incredible idea and then shape it together going forward. And to be fair, if you think about Doctor Who, that's a lot of what it sort of talks about is teamwork and how good we can be when we work together. So that's probably where some of that's come from, I would think, from that original couple of years, because also they had to fight. They had to they didn't get anything given to them, that team. They had to prove themselves. They had to fight to sort of say, look, we know this idea can run. We're passionate about it. Because, like I said, it's the beginning.
Save them though, because that was the. If it wasn't for the Daleks, they'll be off the screen.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. And also, right, we may wax lyrical about it, but quite frankly, to those people, it was just a job, and they were trying to keep their job. They weren't thinking about it like the way you're saying, Charlotte. They would literally, this is a job. Let's see how far we can push it. And then when somebody said, "Oh, we can't get Hartnell anymore. Let's just replace him." Oh, let them change it. You know, and the whole show was step by step being created. What
but I do think certain things, like it's been spoken about with Verity. She had to go to Hartnell. She had to convince Hartnell. So there was parts of it which I do agree with you that there probably was this. It's a job, but I think there's parts of it which you can see that sort of spirit. And I think
I think more in the 60s, when people said it did a job, they would do it like with their full, muster, with all might, because people had like a work ethic back then. Even bums would have a work, when I saw that picture of Sidney Newman with that quote and like it looked like two roundels, I had the great idea. It'd be great to do like a play or something where Sidney Newman was actually a Time Lord, right? And like the meddling monkey, and he came here and created Doctor Who to take the piss out of the Doctor, right? He turns up and there's this show of him running around. Oh, that would be such a great joke.
I love that image.
They were making up as they went along, right, Doctor Who? In truth, they were making up as they go along. But they just was really lucky that it stood the test of time. And now Doctor Who is something that we all love. And it was because of them we got Doctor Who. So you can't take that away from them,
John?
I love that image of Sidney Newman because it reminds me of, William Shatner when he used to sing those songs. He just used to sing with a cigarette.
He's a rocket man.
Yeah, exactly. The Sydney's doing it himself,
You know what? Doctor Who may have stood the test of time, but unfortunately, my bladder rarely does. And that's why we created the Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break. Even on Doctor Who Day, we feel the call and the tingle of nature. Ideal time to take a bit of a break and trip back in time to reacquaint ourselves with some Doctor Who faces and voices. This is quite a unique one. This is the 6th Doctor with Boise from Only Fools and Horses. What?
Lock off and hold. What do we do before motorways? Get very tired and take forever. Rain to all units. Coffee and a bit of a stretch, fellows, or do we push on?
Left one here, sir. Shall I aid you go to sleep? Could not as well of exercise. Right one here. I'd like to second that.
Mouth falling. A little on the dry side. Wouldn't say no to a coffee.
Nice to brain. I'd like a bit of a change of view.
Right.
Keep going.
Brain to all units. We shall be stopping.
Eyes to brain. Motorway looking a little clubby ahead.
Brain to hands, stand by. Brain to eyes, check rear mirror.
Clear. Rear mirror clear.
Brain to hands, indicator, and move into overtaking lane.
Ready now. Eyes to brain. Road clear ahead.
Looks like a pull-out. Brain to right, foot, stand by to cover brake.
Eyes to brain. Pull out started.
It's underestimating the speed of sports.
Eyes to brain. Sports car staying put.
Exactly what I'd do if I was him. Teach that Sunday driver a lesson.
Well, motorway's no place to teach lessons. The sports might have to pull out.
No indicators yet.
He's going to have to.
Still no indicators.
Brain to right foot, be ready.
Sports pulling out.
Idiot. Brain to eyes, check speed,
80.
Brain to right foot, and brake, and brake, and brake.
Marvellous, isn't it? First that Burke pulls out without making sure there's any space. Then the goon in the sports car slams over into our lane and not a signal in sight.
That could have been very nasty.
That could have been very nasty, everybody. That could have been very nasty. Fortunately for us, it wasn't. I think everybody got out okay, including Scorby and the Sixth Doctor there. It's one of my very favourites, I have to say. Always been very fond of that. And Colin Baker did very, very few adverts of any kind. That was a public information film from British television way, way back in the 1970s. We're back, though, with Type 40 Live on Rumble, X, YouTube and Facebook, too, for Doctor Who Day. It may well confuse some of us, but we're not confused. We always know what we're talking about, Rabbi.
Gay porn. The thing you just showed us.
What?
It did look like gay porn. Like with the moustaches and stuff. Like it's like I thought there was gonna be like this like disco music playing.
I wouldn't know, Rabbi. I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
No,
I think about that pic of Shooty.
Everybody thought about gay porn from the early 1970s. If you haven't, you're not a real man. That's all I can tell you.
I'm not thinking about porn of any kind, not on Doctor Who Day. Why
I wish we would have had driver as education movies like that over here. That would have been great.
What with hard-lined sort of tuition there from sitcom favourites and future sci-fi icons.
That's right. Although, you know, since he was Scorby, it would have been fun if Colin would have turned to him at some point and yelled, "There is no chance!" You know, just like the Fourth Doctor did. Did you have
this
that?
This is
Dan?
Type 40 Live all across your view screen on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook and X. And I've got the panel here. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, did you have that like in your collection, like on an old like Betamax tape or something?
Betamax.
Betamax.
No, I can't. To be honest, I can't remember where I found that one. I've had it for quite a long time though. But it just felt that it was ideal to dust down for. Ideal for Doctor Who Day.
And what is that drink?
Me? What?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay, let's carry on, shall we?
Just hold it up again. It's massive. She
not
cried.
massive. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's a Doctor Who drink. That's what it is.
That's a very shooty drink, that is.
Khakis in your
drink,
arse.
mate.
No, I've had drinks like that before.
Yeah, it makes me jolly, put it that way.
Well,
So
there you go. There you go. She cried.
Well, you know what they say about anything pink.
Oh,
It's only Doctor Who Day once a year.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's only Doctor Who Day once a year. If you can't have a drink, and be merry and get a little bit silly now, then when can you, right, girls? Yeah, absolutely. Doctor, when did all this nonsense start, though? To be honest, I don't really know. But Doctor Who Day is definitely a thing now on November the 23rd every year. And officially it says embark on a journey through time and space with a mysterious alien known for their time-travelling adventures in an iconic blue police box. That's according to this official site, which sort of manages and monitors all of these various days that have popped up over the last few years. It does seem that everything has got a day now, whether it's the Alien movies or, I suppose they've been around for 50 years. It's allowed. But I think Doctor Who is far more entitled to have this dedicated day. If not for them, then certainly for us, Charlotte. It's pretty harmless, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's just a fun day for us all to talk more than usual because we don't need an excuse to talk about Doctor Who. And it's just a bit of fun. I think that's what we have to just sort of have in our head. It's just a bit of fun. But
when is the Rabbi Day then? When is that?
You know what?
International Rabbi Day.
Bloody hell. Yeah. Rabbi.
Where naked women run down the road just because it's Rabbi Day.
Millie Gibson and Nicola Bryant show up. Right?
I'll make sure my notification is on for that.
Yeah.
So I've gone to this website that manages all these days to find out exactly what they suggest that we should be doing, John, to celebrate Doctor Who Day, because we do something different every year on this show. And this website says it's ideal for Doctor Who fans to share memories of your favourite episodes and moments for the show. But we do that every week for at least 2 or 3 hours, don't we? So we've got that covered.
We do, and we also correctly say known for his time-travelling adventures and in
Thank you,
iconic
John.
blue police box. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. It also suggests that we post about the different actors who've played the Doctor over the. We do that all the time as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it goes on to say you could always create a poll and try and work out who is the most popular Doctor. We do. I think most Doctor Who fans do that every week, Charlotte.
Yeah, and it's not like that would cause a debate, is it?
No.
Thanks, Colin Baker, that.
It goes on to say, Gary, that it's also a good time for us to encourage other people to become followers of Doctor Who and to discover the series afresh. But we never stop trying to indoctrinate people in our lives either, do we?
No, I mean, and the great thing about the show, especially, is that there's a plethora of starting points. I mean, you can start them at the beginning of their era. You can start at the beginning of classic, the beginning of new. My personal entry point for any new fan would be the 11th Hour, because I think that's like the perfect episode to get new fans on board.
From me.
But there's a lot of different ways a lot of different entry points, which is one of the great things about the show.
Yeah.
They also suggest that it's an ideal time to share some fan art, maybe. Anything that's been inspired by Doctor Who in a creative way. We do that every week. Too.
Maybe they're watching our show, Dan. You never know.
I think you could be right. It also says that you could boast about the show's cultural impact and its place in British TV and popular culture. Try stopping us.
Yeah, exactly.
You've written this, haven't you, Dan? You've set
I'm starting to think I may well have done. I may well have done. So I think we should get on to them and tell them that, that this isn't unique to Doctor Who Day at all. And that the truth is that I think it's quite likely that every day is Doctor Who Day. After all, Ian Levine is absolutely right about that. And anybody who disagrees is just a Saxon. And we should celebrate Doctor Who whenever we bloody well feel like it. All of it, if need be. Let us know what you think in the live chat and what your Doctor Who day has been like. So have you been watching it? Have you been creating things based on it? Have you been dressing up as one of the characters, the monsters, the doctors, the companions? Have you been dressing up as the TARDIS? Let us know and send us some pictures by all means. I think in many ways that we have to amuse ourselves, Matt, because we can't, the sad fact of the matter is we can't always rely on the holders of the intellectual property to keep the boiler stoked. Can we? That's the sad fact of it. We need one another. The BBC have they come up with the goods this year? I don't know really. I mean, earlier on today they dropped 10 minutes of deleted scenes. A deleted scenes package went up on YouTube. Scenes from the 60th anniversary and from season 1 of All New Doctor Who. So that's all up there and out to see. Why any of this wasn't on the Blu-ray box sets that were pretty bloody expensive, Matt, they haven't said.
Crazy. I know.
But at least it's there. Has anybody watched these yet?
No.
No.
I didn't even know they were there.
Couldn't care less, to be honest.
Yeah, they are there. I got halfway through them, and some of them are okay. They're sort of tops and tails of scenes, and as always, when you come across deleted scenes on Blu-rays and DVDs and things like that, some of them you think, yeah, I could see why they cut that. Other things you think, well, that's a bit of a shame. But
to be honest, there should have been a lot more deleted scenes out of the main show, but that's
it's
another
not
3 hours worth.
It's not like a 10-minute extended by generation, is it?
No.
It shows you coming out of the PP.
Oh, that's idea.
There was some extra scenes of a certain dog in the TARDIS, is there? Like other things that we missed in the episode.
I haven't seen. Well, I got halfway. It's 10 minutes. I got halfway through and I got bored.
Oh, God.
That doesn't because the BBC announced something else. But here's the blurb for people out there. If you do want to go and watch these, it says, Where did the Doctor's whistle come from? What happened to the remembered TARDIS? I think we all commented on that. What happened to the memory TARDIS? How fabulous was Maestro? We don't need more of that. Find out in these deleted scenes from season 1 and the 60th anniversary specials. All of that is up on the official Doctor Who channel right now. So there's that. They've been live streaming all day as well. Various content, so compilations of different moments from different shows and regenerations and monster scenes and all that kind of thing, which culminated this evening at 7 p.m. in a live stream screening of Boom from earlier this year. That was episode 3, wasn't it, of the latest run with Millie Gibson, Shuta Gatwa and Varada Sethu. They're written by Stephen Moffat, and Stephen Moffat's been on X as well, tweeting along with this with some fantastic facts that he's dug out of his hard drive there about the production of that episode. But we wondered why he chose that, didn't we? We talked about this a little on the last show, Charlotte, but you think it may be to line it up with the Christmas one?
Yeah, because the weapons manufacturing Boom was mentioned in the preview clip. So I think there's a line about the Doctor, like he investigated or he followed them. So I think that's the connective tissue we're going to get a little bit of between the 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think you could be right. And any thoughts on that, Rabbi? Do you think that's quite likely? And what did you think?
And I think oh my God, I can't imagine you putting a picture up and make me say, I would go, if you haven't put the Doctor Who logo, I'll go, there's no way I want to see that. That like weird pantomime fan, like there's no. You put a Doctor Who logo, I'm like, what? Why? I don't know. Anyway, what were we talking about? I'm sorry.
Excellent question. Yeah, that's to be continued. Of course, the Christmas special picks up from the Children in Need scenes that we got the other day.
I was going to say, apparently that weapons manufacturer was first mentioned in was it The Empty Child back in season 1 in 2005. Somebody pointed out to me. So I thought that's not that's right. Continuity.
He turned all their factories into like a banana field.
Right. So, yeah.
So you can always rely. I don't think Moffat's been planning that for 14 years, but you can always rely on him. You know, after I leave the job, I'll then come back and I'll do this and I'll do that. Right. But I do think it's nice that he can steer it back into that direction, Gary. I think that's it. I think it shows a writer who knows their material inside out, who's very confident about when they're wielding the pen.
You know, and it's, you know, typical Moffat that the first mention 14 years ago would be how the corporation was defeated, and then every mention after is like timey-wimey at different points in the timeline.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so that's how Stephen Moffat has been spending Doctor Who Day, publicising Doctor Who when he's not even the showrunner. What is the showrunner doing? Well, he's at so this is Black Ball 2024. He was with somebody called Cheddar Gorgeous, having a great time there. So bottoms up, Russell.
Jessica Rabbit the same way again.
Do yourself, buddy. Whatever floats your boat, sunshine.
Why can't we have a companion named Cheddar Gorgeous?
Yeah. Because we know what we'd get.
Far out.
Oh dear.
I mean,
it's not a weird pervert degenerate. They go, oh, what a bigot. Right now,
Yeah.
just keep it.
I don't
Did we
care what they call me now.
lose Charlotte over Cheddar Gorgeous?
Yeah, she's run. She's off to the
Don't
show.
blame her. Don't blame her.
She's done.
Oh, evolved.
It's everybody's got their limits, haven't they? It seems like everybody's got.
Find that picture, Dan.
Where did I find that particular picture?
Yeah, of Cheddar Gorgeous. It's like, was that a big thing that RTD was at?
Yeah, he shared it on his Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. Okay.
Yeah, he's proud of this stuff.
That's the bloody problem.
He's well happy.
Yeah. Doubling down for season
He's happy
2.
as Larry. Yeah, so that's yeah, so that's what's been going on there from official Doctor Who. And as I say, I got a little bit bored 10 minutes into watching that deleted scenes package when something actually interesting and exciting was announced. And rather than me sort of go on about it, I thought let's have a look at what I'm talking about here.
5 escaped prisoners travelling in a 1917 British Army ambulance clearly marked with a red cross. Time travelers. I wonder.
I've heard disquieting rumors of serious trouble here. Are they true?
You know what will happen?
Your appearance has changed before. It will change again.
Goodbye, Jamie.
No! You can't do this to me!
December
That's
the 23rd.
not real, is it? It's a fan-made shit, isn't it?
It's very real.
Baby, although it is also fan-made, I believe.
Come on, let's. That's yeah. So this is coming on December the 23rd in colour. The War Games will premiere on BBC iPlayer and BBC 4. A thrilling trailer was released today at tea time. Fittingly enough,
is that the one we just watched?
I thought it was fantastic. You speak as you find. I thought it was fantastic. What's the problem, Matt? Go on, over to you first.
I just it wasn't so much the colorization; it's the fact that they're incorporating things from the newer series in it, and I'm not a fan. I don't mind if they colorize it, but I feel that the new effects are just a bit of a shame.
Because we're in the same situation we were just over a year ago, aren't we? Because nobody's going to mistake this for the original version. It was in black and white. But yeah, this was the War Games, the final black and white adventure. The second story to be given this colorization treatment from the team behind the Daleks in colour that was screened on this night last year, exactly 12 months ago. Several friends of the channel work on these productions. I would imagine this has been very, very intensive work for them throughout that time. I was surprised. I had an inkling. I think we knew that something was coming. In fact, I think that they announced last year, I think Ben Cook and various other people connected with it said that they were working on the next one. So we knew that it wasn't going to end there, but I'd heard it was a second Doctor story. Didn't know which one.
Dan?
Well, originally this was a 10-part story, and this is again getting the feature-length treatment. Gotcha. So I've heard various reports from fans about how long this version will be. So I don't want to quote any of them I don't. Does it say 90 minutes on the actual website? Because I hadn't seen.
Well, for me, I'm looking forward to this because I love it when they add things to colorize. I can't wait to see this. Tell you the truth.
Well, I have to say, the colorization of this one is way better than it was in the
obviously,
Dalek.
yeah. I mean, and also they got video shots in there as well. The stuff that was shot on video, and they colorized that as well. So I can't wait to see this.
But the problem is, it was the Daleks was shit. Right, that's really their big their cut of it was really horrible.
There was
It didn't work at all. So
I mean, obviously, this story was 6 years after the Daleks, Ian. So I suppose some of the material that they've got to work with, some of that raw material, they can remaster it into HD because there was a lot of film inserts for this. And I understand I've been sent a few messages as well this evening. Apparently, there are some new HD elements have been sourced here that they didn't have access to before, things that have been found by the BFI relatively recently. Yeah. So this is going to look, in some respects, better than ever. How it's packaged, I'm not sure.
There was a fan thing that that somebody made, I think it was a couple of years ago, where when he was getting judged before he turns into
that was awesome.
That was great. I hope they incorporate that in there because that was awesome. Yeah, it was really good. I hope that. Well, they probably won't, but
I think we've seen. I think we've seen several.
No, on my channel, I put the frames.
Hang on, look, right. Let me explain. I think. Yeah. Okay, let me explain. I think we've seen, Ian, the one that you're talking about is some fan art that a guy called Tim Hill did, which we featured that extensively on the show with the Time Lords and the courtroom. And that was really beautifully done. But if you remember, that stuff wasn't in colour. The stuff the rabbi's talking about, was produced by somebody else. I'll come to that in a moment. But so this, I mean, look at the quality of this image.
I can't wait. Seriously, it looks great. I'll definitely watch it.
I'd be excited if the Daleks was good, but I mean the idea of cutting down a 4 hour, 40 minutes worth of story to 90 is like, oh.
It might be good though, Rabbi. It might be quite good.
But again, I'll be more open-minded if the last one wasn't shit and they didn't look down their nose at me.
Look, I'd rather watch this than the the extended behind the scenes of shooty rubbish. I'd rather watch this. Because this is real Doctor Who, right? Because it looks.
I mean, for my money, this is a project that we saw the first sort of phase of last year, and I agree with you, Rabbi, about the Daleks. I thought the first 50 minutes was outstanding, and then it kind of went up the pictures entirely, and nothing to do with the prowess of the colorization. It was all down to the editing, and I hate to say it, and because I love his work generally, I think Mark Ayres got it wrong with that music, wrong in a major way. I think you're right as well, like any creative endeavor, I would imagine that maybe lessons have been learned on the way, because this is going to be a hell of a learning curve to be on, John. And quite a lot of pressure, I would imagine. I mean, what are your instincts about it?
I have to sort of agree with Rabbi, really. I did like the Daleks colorization. Just because of what you've just mentioned, really. It wasn't for the colorization. Hats off to the people that did that. It was more the editorial element of it. It just didn't work for me. With this one, yes, the colorization looks even better, which is brilliant. I don't like the idea of 10 episodes down to a 90-minute story. I don't like that at all.
It's smart if it's a favourite, doesn't it? And this is a big favourite of mine, John.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say as well, I know you guys have tried to reassure me, but until I've got to the end of it and I've seen they've not regenerated and inserted the Roof Doctor into this story, I am going to be on. I'm going to be like
me too.
that. Yep. Yeah, I'm on.
But you know what?
Yeah.
So with the Daleks one, with the colorization of one, look, they're just trying something new, and they're probably going to get better and better, because it's not going to stop here. They're going to take other episodes and colorize it. Do you know what I mean? They're learning as they go along, right?
But spend the money on the animations.
Well, I know Dan. I know Dan was saying that he didn't like the way it was cut, didn't like the way Mark Ayres did the music, was too much, whatever. It was their first one, so maybe they got it right in this one. Who knows? We'll see, right?
I think the thing is, and I'm sort of in between, because I agree with what you guys said about the Daleks. The actual color work and the sort of the technical side of it, you couldn't fault it. It was incredible to see some of those scenes. I remember just to see them in color, some of those scenes.
For me, it didn't work at all. It didn't feel natural.
What worked for you, the Charlotte? Why did you feel differently?
I think because for some of them, like especially the environment shots when like Susan was in the jungle, and you could sort of see the planet and things like that. I thought it just added more for me.
Yeah.
But then I can see what you said, because I showed my dad the Daleks, because I said, oh, look, they've done them in colour. And even he said, God, they look a bit daft now, don't they? But then
they always did.
So I had issues with the Dalek one, but I actually really enjoyed the pyramids one they did with I know that wasn't a colour
earlier in the summer, yeah.
Yeah, they did some editing on that. They cut that down and they sort of did this sort of different package almost of it, and they added special effects to pyramids. And for me,
the only problem with that is they had Shooting Gatwa talking about it being cultural appropriation.
Oh, don't forget that stuff. The actual.
Oh, but they put that in that car, and I agree with you. The new effects on that were good, although they really missed the trick not keeping the Sutek time tunnel effect, because that really matched that like rainbowy.
Yeah, so it was weird how they seem to have
use that. That's your trademark. But
so
no.
I think the thing is, I agree with what Ian said. I think they are learning and they're sort of getting a better feel.
Yeah.
So
I'll give it a go. Certainly, the colorization looks a lot better. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go. I'm crawling to bed right now. It's way past my bed.
Thank you for joining us, Rabbi. Happy Doctor Who Day. It's been great to have you aboard. We'll catch up with you in a day or two. Take care.
I was just going to say really quickly that when I first saw this trailer, my first reaction kind of matched Dan, you, and Ian, where the young fan in me just goes, holy cow, look at this. The chance to see Troughton in color, and it just pops. Then I'm kind of on two minds. What Matt said about not incorporating, modern Who elements, that really resonates with me, that I kind of flinch at that. So fingers crossed. I hope this is great. I kind of live in terror that John's prediction will come true, that they will futz with the regeneration. If they incorporate that, the thing that's been on YouTube for a couple of years, and I think you mentioned where Troughton regenerates into Pertwee, it's like, great, perfect.
Yeah.
That's great. And then especially what they should do, BBC, if you're listening, if this is coming out in December, please release the season 7 collection in January. That would be nice synchronicity.
Here's the blurb for this, Gary. It says, classic Doctor Who story, The War Games, is to be brought to life in stunning new colorization to air on BBC4 and iPlayer on the 23rd of December. It's time to step into the excitement of the War Games once again, as one of Doctor Who's most classic tales is to receive a spectacular new colorization. This is absolutely huge. For the first time, these episodes have been meticulously colorized and enhanced with updated visual effects here, edited into a new 90-minute feature-length experience. Yes, you're quite right. It's right in front of my eyes. To appeal to today's modern audiences. It says that in the blurb. How strange. With updated sound and a new score, this newly updated version of the War Games offers both fans and newcomers even more ways to watch this much-loved classic story. Hearts do seem to be in the right place. I still have my 10-parter. I adore every minute of the War Games. I've never been one for the whole, it's too stretched out, it's all padded, it's this. I love every beat of the thing, but images like this are so seductive.
Yeah,
it looks beautifully done. And if it brings more people round, I hate to say so, I'm with Ian. I had a great time watching the Daleks in colour, despite my misgivings about it, Matt. And I think it's been done in the right spirit. I do, and I know they probably want to make a few quid, and that's fine.
I think the colorization is a lot more improved.
Yeah, I really do hope
the effects.
They do it well. Sorry, Matt. I hope they really do it well, and basically, I'm looking forward to this because I love. Look, I'm a huge fan because they couldn't do it then. I'm a huge fan when they put new effects in and make it look better, because to me, it enhances something that was great, in my opinion. Yeah, if they do something with the 200s Doctor Who, that's crap. Or even the 70s, sometimes they get it wrong. But with the Hartnell ones and the Patrick ones, they need the effects fixing, because some of them are really awful, and I don't mind if they do that. They're going to cut it down, yes. I'm hoping that it's not going to be too bad, and I'm hoping what John said, that they don't insert something that shouldn't be there. So they
my guess, my initial knee-jerk guess, I think we'll probably get most of the setup intact from episodes 1 and 2. I think we'll probably get the bulk of the final episode in, and then I imagine the running back and forth among the time zones from like episode 3 to 9 is probably what's going to get truncated into the middle part.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very heady few weeks whilst we wait for this, Charlotte. You can see why some of us feel, because part of me, I feel a bit precious about this material as well. You can see why, Matt's very pure, quite raw reaction. You can understand why people feel that way, can't you?
Yeah, and especially the way classic has been treated the last couple of years. There has been this sort of attitude about it needing to be fixed and corrected. And the current production team have almost at times felt like they're looking down at Classic Who, if you're being honest. So I think if this was done in a different time, there wouldn't be so much nervousness from certain fans. But then I agree with you. I know if you were to say to certain people, watch a 10-part story, they would not be able to do it. I'm sorry. Some fans just don't have either the capacity or the attention to do that. And so if this can, in a good way, cut it down and not make you feel like they're taking out too much, but still keep the essence of what we love about the war games, I think that is a good thing, if I'm being honest, especially as you have still got the original on iPlayer that's going to be next to this.
God,
I think...
I hope they don't include.
And if this is
this is what I was going to say. I do think though, if they do any major changes like regeneration, messing around, or stuff like that,
doing it, aren't they?
But I think if they just have the golden energy, which is what's known as New Who, I think that's okay. Yeah. If they add stuff like a Doctor or a canon issue, I do think this will be the final nail, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. To be fair, they've included elements from those things in that trailer. So if people are out, they're out. You've been we've been teased, we've been trailed. If we don't want to see it, then we don't have to. We don't have to buy it. We don't have to.
It's not.
Sorry, go ahead.
You go, Ian. You go.
I'm just saying that they've seen what the fans can do. That amazing one where he changes from Patrick to John. That's amazing. That fan did that. It was amazing. So they can do that if they want. I wouldn't mind if they did that. I wouldn't mind at all because they didn't have the technology to do it then. Yeah. All they did was spin him around. Oh, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? To be honest, change that's fine for me.
To be honest, Ian, I respectfully disagree on that though, because
that's okay. You can disagree.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, mate. And I think what it is for me, growing up as a Doctor Who fan, I always liked each regeneration being just that little bit different.
Yeah,
it was unique.
I get you.
Yes. And I'm tired.
Me too.
Really tired of every regeneration is standing up with the flames coming down. I want a Doctor who is close to death, lying down as you would because he's collapsed on the floor. I don't want this.
Hideous.
It's
well, I get you.
On a glass half full note, I was just thinking, Dan, I don't know if you'll agree that if this is a way to introduce fans who avoid anything black and white, if this is a way to introduce them to Troughton and get them to fall in love with Troughton, then I'm all for that.
I just obviously dropping this on December the 23rd. I don't want anybody's Christmas ruined. Nobody wants that. No one wants anybody to be upset. I don't think the people who work on this material, they don't want anybody to be upset either. We know that. We spoke to the nice people. I know. So it's genuine. This want to entertain.
It's not like the modern day Doctor Who crew want to upset any fans at all.
I've always thought that's why
the colorization.
The Blake 7 people and Blake 7 fandom very finicky people, very fussy people. They've just been served all 13 episodes, been done in a sort of similar way. The Star Trek people had this done over 20 years ago, and they took it fine. Admittedly, they didn't have 50-minute episodes squashed down to 20 minutes, and neither have the Blake 7 people. So it is more drastic, but I think that some of the themes, some of the appeal, it is the same. I think some of the instinct behind it is the same, to endure the material and to not have it reaching an ever narrowing group of people. I don't necessarily think that represents a dumbing down. I think it represents an opening up myself. You're going to find out on December the 23rd. Should we have a look in the live chat and see what people have to say about all this? Because I would imagine it set a few cats amongst quite a lot of the old pigeons there.
This is the Type 40 podcast. You will be exterminated.
It's not very nice, is it?
Oh, I like that.
Oh.
I like that one.
It's not very nice.
Oh dear. We have garbage straight in there with "This is going to be ruined." Brilliant.
I hope not. I really hope not. Seriously.
Domgo thinks the colour looks awful. I don't agree. I mean, I'm not keen on garishness, and this I don't like this. But I like everything. I like everything else.
You have your own imagination to add color, and I think when you see something and you're like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that," because to me, I always thought the Time Lords were more ethereal, so they were more angel-like, back then.
Yeah.
So to see them dressed like that is like, oh, now they're just wearing a space suit.
Did they go and find someone that was part of that era and ask them what color were they wearing? Maybe they just said it was that color, so they did it in that color. We don't know, right?
Remember, I can't even
There's
remember.
probably behind the scenes shots.
I'd say they probably. No, I mean, I was under the impression that those outfits, those tunics, were black. That these were black and white. But maybe I'm basing that on seeing later cosplayers dressed as these characters. I don't know.
Yeah. Dan, I will say that when you run the trailer, the one thing that I will say that does look very, very good is where you've got the car in the wasteland.
Yeah.
And you've got a really bright color, but I do like that they've also got the shine of the vehicle as well. You wouldn't have got that necessarily on the previous Daleks, one they put out. It's got a nice look to it. So again, all credit to the people that have done these colorizations. They're really talented. It's just I've got my concerns, and I hope I'm sitting here at Christmas.
They'll be receptive. They'll be aware and sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so to me, it looks polished, but maybe they've polished it too much to the point where it's rubbed some of the stuff off, the original off.
You know what, Matt?
In the same way that sometimes when things get remastered for 4K, they can remove grain and the camera, the James Cameron problem.
You're right. But the thing is, though, right? They're giving it their best shot. You can't please everyone. No matter what you do, is people going to complain and moan and stuff like that. So I'm just grateful.
I'm not complaining and I'm not moaning.
No, Matt, I'm not referring to you at all. Sorry, mate. I'm not referring to you.
No, that's
what I'm saying is that I'm just happy that they colorize it. I like looking at old Doctor Who in another light. I want to see this, and I will be seeing it. The only thing that's going to stop me from not watching it is if John says they put the next door neighbor doctor in there when he changes.
I didn't say it. I'm just worried.
Dongo asks, how can you possibly squeeze this classic into 90 minutes without making it complete crap? But I suppose with a bit of with sensitivity, with talent and with skill, as I say, they've done it. Whether that sounds like something that you want to, I appreciate that there's plenty of us may feel like it's a car crash that they can't look away from, and they want to see if results are going to vary. But I think it's like Ian said. I think they've done it. I'm open to it, even though I love the story so much. Robert Payne says, I always thought the second Doctor's shirt was white and not blue. No, it mostly was blue. In the colour photos from the Power of the Daleks, Troughton's Doctor was wearing a blue shirt. I've seen
as well, wouldn't it? Yeah,
he definitely wears a blue shirt in the Three Doctors. I wouldn't know whether he always wore a blue shirt on set. He probably didn't, because you wouldn't need to, would you? But who knows?
Did Patrick Troughton ever do public appearances like Hartnell? Or
I've never seen any. But I don't know. Maybe people in the live chat will know.
Wasn't long.
Yeah, because otherwise, those sort of people would have seen it.
You mean like at the time, Matt, right? You mean like while he was...
Yeah, when they do parades and, and all that sort of stuff like Hartnell did back in the day, for these fairs and that sort of thing, I mean, even John Pertwee did it, so...
Yeah, he did it a lot.
Cybermat Strike says, colorization is cool. I just wish you could get a non-cut down version. Obviously, colorizing.
A lot of time.
I'm not having a go at the colorization. I mean, to me, it's a lot less glaring than I mean, the color for the Daleks really put me off. It just looked too fuzzy. But this looks really good, and that was what I was impressed with.
You know what? Honestly, all of you are talking about Troughton's shirt. I cannot keep my eyes off Zoe in that raincoat. I'm sorry.
Oh, we do have Rich Tipple in the live chat. Thank you, Rich. Rich is one of the team. He leads the team of creatives working on these projects. Good to see you, mate. And he comes in on Kess's question, why not colorize the whole thing and make it a two-parter? And Rich simply states it's because we had 10 months, not 10 years.
Yeah, that is the key. That's the key thing, right? It depends on how much time they've got, right? And it's not an easy process to do what they've done, right? And I'm grateful for what they've done. I'll say I'm going to watch this. The only thing that's going to stop me from watching it is what John said. That's all I'm saying.
Now, Dan, I'm curious. Is this a frame by frame process?
Sorry, Gary.
I was going to say, is this a frame by frame process where they kind of do like a black and white edit of the cut down version and then they frame by frame colorize it? Is that how it's done?
There are now, Rich. Rich, I'm not going to attempt to answer this on Rich's behalf. He did answer this on an episode of the podcast, and that, mind you, I would imagine that it's evolved since Rich explained it to me, because there's Rich and Kieran and Scott and a gentleman whose name I can't remember. And all of them, I believe, in producing their original fan versions, that material that they worked on before they all came together, they all had slightly different working practices. And so I think it's all been sort of refined. And one would imagine that now a second project in, that it's probably changed some more. I think there were master frames, and I can't quite remember. And, Rich is probably there sniggering right now. Corvin's in the live chat as well. Hi, Corvin. Happy Doctor Who Day. He says, I could fault some of the colour work in the Daleks, especially the jungle, because it contradicted an actual line of dialogue about the appearance of the jungle. But did that line of dialogue make it through to the edit, I suppose, would be my query. I can't remember, Corvin, but great to see you, mate. Happy Doctor Who Day.
And I think a bit of this is, they've proved as an audience now that the reaction from that first one and just how much people were looking forward to it, and then whether they liked it or not was the result afterwards. But I think even people who didn't like it still could say, look at the amount of work and the skill in it. That seemed to be the resounding sort of feel about it afterwards.
Also, remember, right?
And I can't help but think the BBC a little bit were sort of thinking this, let's see how this goes. Let's see if this can actually sort of have an audience.
But
and now they proved it. I just can't help but think that they've probably been given a little bit more sort of resources and time, I would hope.
Everybody has to remember that the technology is getting better and better as every day goes by with AI and, Topaz. They've got this thing called Topaz upgrade and stuff. They can upgrade pictures. They can take something that looks absolutely awful and put the detail back into those pictures. So by the time they get to the fourth one, it'll probably be bloody, awesome. Do you know what I mean? So
we've got more questions in the live chat. William Wells asks the most important question of the night. Obviously, would you like a Jelly Baby?
Please.
I'd go with Jelly Baby, absolutely. We've got
they
Who Found
sugar?
Down
I
asking the
want them
same
sugar.
question. And Corvin says it's cool that BBC4 have given over 90 minutes of this screen time, but it begs the question why they wouldn't allocate at least 80 minutes for the Daleks. 70 minutes was that bit. Again, these are questions that it's part of the same. It's all wrapped up in the same thing. Proof of concept, and because in many respects, putting the Daleks on in colour, even on BBC4, which isn't is there such a thing as terrestrial telly anymore? Putting something like that on a channel like BBC4 in prime time, I don't remember seeing that done before. There's the Hancock stuff a couple of years ago that Clayton Hickman worked on, but that was on UK TV, which is on it's a cable TV channel. This is a BBC channel, so I think we're seeing new ground being broken here in absolutely every respect. Kess the Drone says the colour looks pretty good on there. We've got another one of the team here in the live chat as well. Thank you so much, Who Colour, who adds, I can assure you this has been done with a lot of love. I've barely been outside this year. And it's the screaming face. Hi, Scott. And there we've got a laughing face, and happy Doctor Who Day to you as well, and congratulations on the launch of this project, my friend. Vanessa says the War Games is one of my absolute favourites. Mine too, Vanessa. Mine too.
Same here.
And we've got more questions from Corvid there as well. It's just a lovely extra for me as Vanessa.
I was thinking, Dan, maybe
She's probably talking about the effects.
As Dan said before, I'm just wondering. I mean, you look at the Daleks, you just look at it as a different version of the story. I mean, the original is one version of the story. The Target novelization of the Daleks is certainly another version of that story. The colorized is a third version of the story. Maybe just kind of look at the black and white War Games as one version of the story. The color is another version of the story. Just kind of maybe look at it like that.
That's exactly how I view this.
I understand making omnibus versions of these people for the younger folks, because they just don't have the attention span today to actually watch Is it a 3-hour show?
Around,
actually watch all the War Games?
More 4.5 hours. I think somebody said in the live chat.
So that's a hard slog for them to actually watch. So I understand, making like an omnibus version. But
we have a workplace argument going on in the live chat there between I didn't know the boss was in here. Bound to be locked in the colorized dungeon again. I'll type this, but I won't press send. Best of luck. Happy Doctor Who Day to you both. Thank you. The colors are great, says Vanessa Law. And I just what else? Yeah, the colors of the new costumes will have been recorded in the. Oh, yeah, the colours of the costumes will have been recorded in the production notes. I hadn't thought of that, Gary, but Lee's probably right with that.
Wow, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, if Rich... Oh, here we are. We've got to answer. It looks like if Rich is in we're a little bit behind, so we do have answers to these questions. Rich adds, we consulted a military historian to get accurate uniforms and medal ribbons. Excuse me. We also consulted behind-the-scenes colour photography. It's been a huge undertaking, and I hope you enjoy it.
Boy, all praise in the world to this team then, because clearly, they did it as a
it's you can tell it's a real labor of love.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go on, John.
I will say from a BBC Studios point of view, it makes shrewd business sense, because I would argue now that the classic era is more popular than the new era in this time
Absolutely.
period. And you only have to look at the collections box sets of how quick they sell out, how they go to number one in the charts.
Yeah.
There's a lot more interest now for the classic Doctor Who collections than there are for the new Who collections. So doing stuff like this, I can see the business sense in it of trying to get some longevity out of it, and to get, like you were talking about earlier, some more interest from younger audiences who, as Matt said, they don't have that same attention span. 90 minutes you could probably get them to hang on for, but anything over that, you literally got to tie.
I think a lot of the time it's grabbing them, it's catching that interest. Glenn Piper, we've caught Glenn's interest for a little while. Charlotte, he says, happy Doctor Who Day, everyone. Looking forward to seeing the War Games in colour.
I'm just thinking, if you look at what they're picking, it also they're going for things which are really important.
Oh, she stopped.
Give her, come on, let's give her a moment.
Yeah, she'll be back.
Okay, here's a moment. That was a moment.
Now,
Charlotte, where are you?
Was the Daleks also on BBC4, Dan? Like
That's right, yeah.
It was, yeah.
Rob Alexander says the colour work is
there she
getting
is.
better all the time. Would love Tomb of the Cybermen, barely cut down, and you wouldn't need much colour.
All right.
And Kess the Drone says, I've never watched the War Games. Now I have a dilemma as to which one to watch first. You were saying, Charlotte?
But I was saying, by the way, I updated my laptop last night. I think that's why it hates me today.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it was daunting for some people to watch the War Games. They probably wanted to, but they just thought it's a big undertaking. And I think this is a really good pick, honestly, to do this for. If I was going to pick a Troughton, this would be sort of top of my list to do this treatment for.
Yeah.
Because I think he's also a doctor that needs more people to look at him and to know his stories.
I've got so many questions, Charlotte. I wonder if they had a short list. If they thought, okay, they've got a list of 4 possibles. I say, Rich, come and tell us. But I don't think they can give interviews. I think they're working that intensely on this stuff. Because I saw Rich a few months ago. And, so I don't probe these guys for answers to these questions. But if you can talk, please come and talk to us. All right? But they probably can't.
Here's one way to look at it. If they could do the target novelization of the War Games in only 141 pages, hopefully they can do a good version of this in 90 minutes.
I'm assuming, Dan, that
yes.
And probably Rich Tipple and co would probably be best to answer this. But when you were saying about the BFI found that the updated, the better quality HD the material that they could upgrade. I'm assuming that they probably found out about that, 12 months ago, and that's why they chose the War Games, because they had the material.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, that's probably the case, isn't it? Because they were probably looking through what they could do next, and then they were told this material existed, and that's why they've gone with it, because it's higher quality.
It's what you call a USP, isn't it, as well? If you've got something that will get... I've not seen that before in any form at all. God, it makes perfect sense. Whoniverse Archive has joined us in the live chat, otherwise known as the Black Archive, and says, hello, I finally caught a live stream again. It's the Black Archive. Hello, it's Alex, isn't it? It's good to see you, Alex. Happy Doctor Who Day.
You're going to have to change your name to the Archive of Chaos.
The Archive of Chaos. Obviously the regeneration that we never properly saw, when the action picks up in colour with John Pertwee, we never saw the regeneration proper, did we? We are going to get to see it in this. So this is the flash that we get in the trailer, and you're quite right. They're claiming in the blurb here, it says they're going to be in addition, this episode will feature the second Doctor's never-before-seen regeneration into the third, alongside recovered footage not seen since the original broadcast. So that's sketchy. It's sketchy. I don't think they're necessarily referring to what we think they're referring to with that. And obviously we've had limited time in between this being announced, just a couple of hours before we came on stream. But again, I've had messages, I've reached out to a few people, and it does seem that Jacob Booth, otherwise known as the Confession Dial, that it's his video, The Second Doctor Regenerates, from around 18 months ago, that has been, if not literally used for this new version, has been incorporated, updated. I'm not entirely sure. I'm hoping to find out some more from Jacob. If you want to find out more, Jacob gave me an hour of his time here. We had an in-depth discussion about The Second Doctor Regenerates, his short film from around 18 months ago there on Type 40 Extra. It's still up here on the playlist on the Type 40 channel. Go and check that out later. And you'll find out how Jacob achieved the results that he did, and who knows what we're going to get on the War Games in colour around about Christmas time. So go and check that out. I'll pop the link in the description as well. We've got some more comments here about that footage you were talking about. Where is the chat's jumping? Excuse me one moment. Yes, Rich is here, and he says we found out about the HD film insert material, which I think runs to about 3 minutes, only a matter of weeks ago, thanks to an interview on Radio Free Scope. Thanks to an interview on Radio Free Skaro.
And I think that's all from episode 1, if I'm not mistaken.
So I've just said I've just said in the chat actually to Rich, I'd be interested to know, he might answer before I finish, but how did they have to then amend their work to integrate this new footage?
And then Rich just answered
what
your
they've
question.
already done.
Yeah, he literally just answered.
He literally just answered your question.
Thanks, Rich.
So yeah, and hi to the three who rule as well. You know we love you, Radio Free Skaro. Thanks for the answer, Rich. Tom from T Dwarf Productions says hi. I'm going to Comic Con tomorrow. Let's know which one. By all means. Rose has been up for 18 hours. 18 hours, Rose. I want to wish everybody a great the rest of the weekend. Please tell me on Monday who is joining me at MCM Comic Con in Birmingham. Because I didn't realise it was this weekend.
I didn't think so. I didn't realise that.
Hoodlum62 is also in the live chat, Ian, and says, I'll be interested to see how they handle the regeneration at the end, because it's not clear from the DVD.
I'm excited.
No,
I want to see that. I'm
Me
excited, man. And look, right, this is for a different generation of people. And again, also, it's for us as well, because we are the fans of Doctor Who. I mean, yeah, there might be some young bucks that don't want to, shove their nose in, but we are the fans. They're trying to please us. And I appreciate it 100%. I want to see this definitely now. Definitely.
The War Games in colour, December the 23rd. What a Christmas present. More comments here as well. We're privileged to have a company of people actually working on this project, spending a little time with us this evening. Thank you so much. Great. And Rich adds, we somehow managed to get this material shipped to the UK, scanned, restored, and added to the edit. There'll be more details released in time. So yeah, it's understandable that we've got so many questions, isn't it, John? It's understandable.
Yeah, and to basically, that blows away what I said a few minutes ago about they chose it because they had the higher quality to work with. But the fact that they've managed to integrate this in such a short window is really impressive. Yeah. So I look forward to hearing more about what they've got to say, and as he says, in the next in the near future.
It would be great if when they eventually, as they probably will, release this onto Blu-ray or DVD, they have like a little behind-the-scenes feature about how it was restored and all.
I'll be very surprised if this doesn't get like a good amount of stuff on the collection. Because have we had the season that this is from? Yeah, as part of the collection.
There have been rumors around for a while that season 6 would be coming. I have to think that this will bump it for a while.
Yeah, because if you've got this should be like pride of place almost on that. Because, like I said, it's his last story. There's so many pivotal things in this story. But yeah, after that, I do need to go, and I probably need to go before my computer decides to chuck me out again. So.
Well, look, Charlotte, thank you so much for everything over the last couple of shows as well, and glad you sort of hung in there. And yeah, hope everything writes itself with your laptop.
I'm telling you,
Happy Doctor Who Day, and thank you.
It had to do about 10 minutes of updates while I was turning it off on Thursday, so I think that's what's happened tonight. You know what? Computers can be.
Good old Microsoft, yeah.
Yeah, Microsoft's probably like, oh, you've had updates, we need to ruin everything. Yeah. So I'll see you guys next week.
Take it easy, Charlotte.
Take care.
See you later.
Bless her. Every now and again, we get these. Everybody gets them, don't they? The adipose in the system. They're interfering with whatever we're trying to do.
Yeah, I do.
Let's hope no adipose have interfered with the War Games in colour.
If you're on a Mac, of course, then you don't get that crap. So there you go.
I'm just actually waiting for Ian's drink to kick in.
That's
what I'm waiting for.
You still haven't answered the mother of all questions, Ian. What are you drinking?
Oh, just drinking some wine. That's all, just a bit,
I reckon actually when he opens that door, he's got an illegal bar in there.
Probably, yeah.
I reckon
seriously,
he's got his
I'm
own
so excited.
bartender, to be honest.
I'm so excited for the War Games. I'm so excited. I think these guys, you got to take your hat off to them. They've put 100% effort into making this as best they can. And as a Doctor Who fan, I would say all power to them, and thank you very much. I'm looking forward to seeing this. Let's go. Yeah. That's all I can say. Let's go. Come on.
I think this has easily been the most exciting thing about this Doctor Who day. As I say, it's not one of the bigger ones. We had a bigger one theoretically last year, so it's we shouldn't be too greedy. But something to top it all off with. I mean, for all I know, they may have announced something amazing, a Paul McGann miniseries in the time that we've been live streaming, John. For all I know, but
Why have you got to destroy me like that, Dan?
Yeah, exactly.
I somehow doubt it, and that's how they're finishing off this year's Doctor Who Day. So this is embark on a journey through time and space with a mysterious alien known for their time-traveling adventures in an iconic blue police box there, Doctor Who Day. And, we joke there about everything's got a day now and how Doctor Who fans are always celebrating something, and we are. And as if to sort of make that even clearer, whilst researching this, I found out that, we have actually got another day. This is coming up, International Dalek Remembrance Day. Rich, did you know about this? Ian, did you know about this?
No,
this is international. This is on Saturday, December the 21st. So this is before War Games Day. International Dalek Remembrance Day, and it says this is for getting hyped and cheering those iconic, menacing metal menaces. Two menaces in 3 words, from another galaxy who always keep the Doctor on their toes. So the Daleks get a day all of their own, Gary. Do you think this is justified or just plain greed?
Well, when I first saw International, I'm thinking, well, maybe there's a Thunderbirds tie-in or whatever. But, I guess no. So for that day, we're supposed to actually root for the Daleks, right?
Oh, could be.
Because we're supposed to, it says we cheer them on.
Could be. I mean, you could be right. The shocking revelation here on Doctor Who Day as we're flicking around in the memory TARDIS and unearthing all sorts with all sorts of people. We've got another comment here from Rich who says, I've had the best team in the world. Kieran, Scott, Tim, Aaron and Tom, all legends there. Legends with an exclamation mark. Congratulations to all of you. One day, I'd like to grab as many of you as we possibly could and get you on the stream. But I suspect that they never get let out of the bunker for long enough, Ian. They've probably never seen daylight for 2 friggin' years, these guys.
Well, I'm telling you, this is going to be awesome. I just got a strange feeling this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see it. And again, thank you guys for doing all your efforts. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What Rich hasn't told us, though, is he's secretly... they've secretly found Dalek Master Plan, and they're quietly colorizing it.
That's right. We know they have all of the missing episodes, so I hope they're getting to work on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Philip Roy adds, I was blown away by the pristine film inserts from the War Machines. So the 3-minute upgrade in colour for the War Games will be worth a watch. People are salivating about all this stuff. Dalek Day, says Lee Smith.
I know.
We need a Terry Nation Day. About National Terry Day for all Terrys. Everybody called Terry.
There's probably one already.
Or Terry's Chocolate Orange Day.
Orange, exactly. We already got that, I think.
It's known as Boxing Day in Britain.
Exactly.
I think Boxing Day. And Cheryl asks, why not a Cyberman Day? See, people get greedy. We've already got 2 now. Cheryl wants 3. See?
Yeah. I just
Doctor Who fans never happy.
Doctor Who Day, that's it. Just stop there, I guess. Doctor Who Day.
How about a Creature from the Pit Day?
Oh, God, no.
Let's restore some decorum, I think, by looking to the mother of Doctor Who. Here she is, the late Verity Lambert, who definitely said this, you've got to believe it. You've got to be able to suspend your disbelief. So said Verity. And that's the key. That's the key, isn't it, Gary? It's whether you're...
truer words... I mean, when I sit there and watch, especially classic Doctor Who, I always watch it with my young fan frame of mind. Whatever they want me to bring to it, for the effects or whatever, it's like, absolutely, I'll fill in all the gaps happily. That's a perfect quote.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you could say that, plenty of us are anoraks. That's more than fair. But what Verity said there, I do think that this is fundamental to the appeal of the show. And this is whether you are actually, you're in your 2nd or 3rd or 4th childhood or literally a child. that being able to suspend one's disbelief isn't something to be ashamed of. It's not something to grow out of. It's something to treasure, maybe, Ian. Is that overstating it? I treasure my ability to still access this in myself.
Yeah, it's the children inside of us, isn't it? That we can still love classic Doctor, even though we can see all the cracks and we see the wires and we see everything. Do you know what I mean? It's the kid inside of us, isn't it? And again, I would say that the people that colorize and stuff and everybody that's making the effort for Doctor Who, it's not for this new audience. They don't exist. It's for us, and we should be grateful. That's all I can say. Do you know?
Matt, I'll give you the final word, mate. I know you've got your reservations, but you're you love Doctor Who just as much as we do, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got nothing really. I mean, I can understand them trying to recreate something that's so beloved, and if it does get on more people on board, then all the best to it. But yes, I am reserved.
The more the merrier. And all that. Okay, yes, so the words of Verity Lambert there. Yeah, it reminds us all, I think, of when we were children, how we first found the show or how it found us.
The only way you can help save the universe is by watching Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast.
Ah, yes. I love this picture. One more thing, everyone. As ever, we're going to round things off with a last look at the view screen. It's our regular eye up your temporal schism in search of some of the prettiest pictures from out there across the Whoniverse here on Doctor Who Day for 2024, and there are no shortage of fabulous pieces of fan art to fill up even these big old cavernous walls of the latest TARDIS, big and grey and nicely lit, but bloody hell, there's a lot of them. Lots of blank space. Thank heaven for Doctor Who fan artists. Ian, I got a roller coaster selection here. I thought you'd love this. This is right up your street, Ian, because I think were you a model maker at one point? Did you used to put models together when you were a kid?
Oh God, yes, when I was a kid.
I thought you said you did. So would you ever try something like a scale, a 1/6 scale TARDIS, the original TARDIS console room here, this is the work of 91065 Mission from Over on X. I just think this is incredible. Check it out.
Oh wow!
Oh, blimey,
that's great. That's isn't that Hartnell's one? Hartnell's
yeah.
TARDIS? Yes.
I think that's the jungle there from the Dalek master plan. Beyond the Doors, Gary, would be my guess. So we're looking at later Hartnell.
Yeah, I would have. You said Dalek Master Plan. My first thought, you're probably right. My first thought maybe was the Ark. But still, I mean, Dalek. I mean, look at that detail.
He's got the wall on the right, because they were drawings, weren't they? Some of them were real roundels, and then some of them were just painted on a wall, and he's got that right. That's cool as well. The chair as well. The chair's right there. That was fantastic. It really is very, very good.
The awkward cable that they couldn't quite disguise well enough on the floor, John.
Yeah,
it's great, and I do love the way he's used the lighting for the roundels by the doors. I think looks fantastic. Hats off to him. That is brilliant.
I so wish I was practical and patient enough to do this, Matt. I mean, you and I work two-dimensionally, but when it comes to 3 dimensions, I get really frustrated trying to do anything like this.
Something at that scale, I'd be squinting a lot, I think. So I have a lot of love for those sort of that sort of work where they have to meticulously, virtually microscopically, to fix everything. So
I mean, Matt, I'm looking, Matt, at the little handles underneath the console, those 2 square hatches, and I'm wondering, are those staples that he's used to do that, or are they actual fastenings, Ian? Because people who do this are so ingenious and so resourceful.
It's amazing the amount of detail that he's gone. These are real fans. Come on, BBC. Wake up. Smell the coffee, man. This
I mean, to be
is who
fair,
you should be talking to, man.
I think that they have, or some of them have woken up. That's how we ended up with, and even though Rich is a professional, I know, who was worked in the industry for a while, but a number of those guys were and are fans. Jacob, the confession booth, is a fan. So I think that they have woken up. I think that they know a good thing when they see it. Clearly,
look at all the detail set inside the central column.
Yeah.
Every little pipe and panel. It's just extraordinary. We'll find out more about how long it's taken them, but it's part of an ongoing project. So I understand they're going to be filming things in it as well and doing lots of various different creative things with that. I just thought it was fabulous. From the inside to the outside, I love this piece from Aidan Wilkinson. This is otherwise known as TARDIS Man, where he fuses the current external shell of the Doctor's time and space capsule with the original one from 1963, and this kind of mirror image there with a big rift, a big rip running up through the middle, and it makes it easier to spot all the differences in between. John's think, they did this, they did that, and I know that the latest box is smaller than, for example, the Eccleston and Tennant one, but it's got a much thicker curb, for example. So all these little things.
It's a lovely touch. Yeah, I do like that. And again, all credit to the people who are able to do this. For me to even contemplate thinking of trying to try this, it'd take me about 6 hours of stress just trying to figure out what button I press first. So all credit to these people. They are great at this stuff. And I want to keep seeing more of it.
Fans, real fans.
Love Aidan's work. I also love the Prydonian's work. He's done the same with the Daleks here. James Johnson on Twitter, the original Dalek. We're talking classic series Daleks here, so the original 63 with the 1988 remembrance of the Daleks, the Imperial Dalek, looking a little bit creamier there, but beautifully recreated in CGI. This also tells a story of sorts, Gary, about the classic show and the evolution in sort of height and just those little details. You think, well, they didn't change that much, but they did.
Yeah, it just pops. And like seeing pictures like this, the two of them together, it doesn't matter to me that it's in CGI. This and like the console we're looking at just kind of gives you a chill. It really does.
Wonderful stuff. We haven't featured any of James's work on here because I think we've shown so much of it. It was starting to feel like it was practically his show. But I thought it was befitting of Doctor Who Day. Who Colour is just signing off in the live chat and says, love the chat. Hope you love this extra special Christmas colorization, and good night all. Well, thank you. Thank you for all your efforts. And we really do appreciate you spending some time with us this evening. Thank you. So staying with models, but going three-dimensional and real world now. This did make me giggle. This is from Paul Patrick Bailey, who's put together a collage there, rifling through the toy box, grabbing all of his action figures and making his own montage there with the title sequences behind them. And some of them are accessorizing here and there. But a collection of the Doctors, most of the Doctors there, most Doctors.
I love the backgrounds for each one behind them. That's great.
You can see the amount again. To go to this trouble to get those pictures and to set them all like that. This is the kind of eccentricity in Doctor Who fans that just makes me giggle. It just. Yeah. I don't know. It's that inner child again. That's what I detect from this. Yeah. Every time we put a picture of that woman, even a plastic replica of her up on screen, it's her. It's her, isn't it? Moving on.
Dan wants
I'm just looking at the way she's holding that sonic screwdriver, and I'm like,
Dan wants to put the Doctor Who logo in the middle bottom there.
Shooty's not got his handbag either, by the looks of it. So.
Bless him. And we've got this too. This is from Oliver Chenery, who's also been working on the Daleks in colour, I think. And this is a piece that he's just released today. And this chimes in with a Big Finish house style that they've worked with for the Once and Future range last year. Do you remember that, Gary? Where they got different incarnations of the Doctor together. And he's updated that this time to feature the 1st and the 15th Doctors together with this kind of gold and teal diamond effect. I think this is really beautifully done from Oliver.
The half faces, and I like the rainbow shimmer at the bottom.
Yeah, from first to last, or last as it stands. Because is it Lee Sullivan who does the train spotting star picture where he's got all the Doctors, full body pictures of all the Doctors in his comic book style, and every time there's a new incarnation of the Doctor, he does a new one. He extends it, so he puts them on with their actual height next to it. I love that. And I think that's what Oliver's done here. I think he did one of these previously for that's lined up with Once and Future. It's great work from Oliver. I think we had one of his pieces on last week too. And finally, in this mammoth selection of pieces from the fandom out there, from the creative side of Doctor Who fandom, we've got this one from Who Photography, who also work with action figures and models. And yeah, I had the same reaction. And when I saw this, it sort of stopped me scrolling dead in my tracks. So it's a modelled recreation of a very special moment, a significant moment in Doctor Who history, that very first cliffhanger that Charlotte was talking about.
Shadow.
Isn't it? Isn't this hypnotic?
It's great. I mean, did he use a bit of Photoshop as well in there? And,
maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a model, the TARDIS, right? Or am
I
wrong?
And if you notice as well, the TARDIS door is just that little bit open at the top.
Yeah.
Look at the birds in the sky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
It's nice. Yeah, it's very nice. It works.
And I thought this was fitting that for our Doctor Who Day show that we kind of go back to 1963 and give a nod to that very first episode, just as Who Photography has there. The oldest of memories of plenty of that generation of very much still with us, still following the show, still celebrating their love of it. And we get contact from the OGs of Doctor Who fandom there in the live chat quite regularly as they go through their memory TARDIS and share those memories, precious memories of their time discovering the show as it was flickering into life there on TV in black and white in the early to mid 60s. In some ways, I wish I was there, Ian, but in many ways, I'm so glad I was born 10 years
I was there. I was born.
Oh, you were a few years later.
A few, I was still a child. But yeah.
There may not be so much room on these walls for fan art, but we can pop a little postcard here or there, can't we? And if you want to send us any artwork, digital art, or a traditional art, cosplay or crafting too, if you work with models, with action figures even, absolutely fine. It's all art to us, all Who art to us. You can send it to us through our social medias. That's Instagram and X at Type40 Doctor Who. As always, or come and track us down in the Type40 Facebook group and plaster it all over the walls there. By all means, go nuts. Go absolutely, go nuts, go queso. Guys, what a show. What a show, what a day. Doctor Who Day 2024 did look like it was going to be a bit of a washout, but in the end, I don't think it worked out too badly at all, guys. What do you think? What do you think, John? Glad you stayed on?
Not a bad day. Yeah, not a bad day. It's not a school night either, so I'm able to stay up a bit later. So it's great. So I'll stick a Doctor Who on later. I think I'm going to go for the Daemons later on.
Oh, so you're not going to go for the reading matter after all. You're going to watch some.
I think I'm going to do both, mate. I think it's going to be a let's see daylight kind of night. To be honest.
Oh boy.
It's already daylight where Matt Pott is. Matt, did you do anything for Doctor Who Day yesterday? Did you watch any favourite story or read anything?
Oh, there you go.
Watch Remembrance at midnight on Doctor Who Day. So
brilliant.
All of it in a mammoth viewing spree.
Absolutely. With the effects, with the special effects.
Yeah.
They were very, very
what do you think, Matt?
subtle. they were subtle. Oh, I loved it. It was awesome. It
Yeah.
just brought back so many
Great.
fond memories.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
great.
it's just it was like watching the whole thing again and not really remembering a lot of things. So it was like, just watching a new episode of Doctor Who that was, good. So, happiness patrol today.
Tom from T Dwarf Productions asks, is crossover artwork allowed on Type 40? Yeah, we've had lots of it on in the past.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we've had some of yours on in the past, Tom. Yeah, we do. We have mashups on all the time. That's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Yes, Gary, how about you, mate? What time of day is it there for you? Mid-afternoon, mid-late afternoon?
2:30 in the afternoon, so I still have a lot of Doctor Who Day left. I'll have to pick out something. Matt's given me an inspiration. Maybe I'll watch, because I haven't got through season 25 yet. But and last night was Dalek Invasion of Earth. So yeah, I might go for a Pertwee, maybe.
Cool.
But I just want to say that
itch.
it's been such fantastic to be part of this celebration, and especially having so many of Rich and his team in the chat. I think made this even more special to get like instant feedback from the creators of what we were actually talking about. Was just fantastic.
Yeah,
it's been a very memorable night to close off another Doctor Who Day, Ian. This is our 5th Doctor Who Day show. Can you believe it?
I can.
I
just think seriously, guys.
Yeah.
Right. We should appreciate these people who try to bring something new to Doctor Who, whether it be new effects or whether it be colorization and stuff like that. These people care more than we think. Right, so we should appreciate it. Doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with what they do, especially Marquez. He literally
Mark's a friend of yours as well, isn't he?
Yeah. He literally lives, drinks, and Doctor Who. Right, so there's no way that man would want something bad to happen with Doctor Who. He tries his best. You got to take your hat off to these people.
I love Mark's work generally. I do, Mark.
They're doing more for Doctor Who than the actual people that are in charge of Doctor Who. So we should appreciate them. That's all I can say. So anyway, happy Doctor Who Day. That's all I can
Another
say.
message for Doctor Who Day, everybody. Yeah, we want to know what you've got planned for the rest of your Doctor Who Day. What have you been doing? Has it been Doctor Who weekend? Is it Doctor Who week for you? I think I'm going to go off and watch an episode of Doctor Who, actually. I think I can just about squeeze one in. Not sure which one it's going to be. It's going to have to be one, maybe two. I haven't got time. There's no way I've got time to fit in the War Games, which is probably just as well, because I'm definitely going to be watching this brand new edition of the War Games, one of my favourite Doctor Who stories, when it's on BBC 4. That's on December the 23rd, yes, a couple of days before Christmas, and in colour too. What a Christmas treat that's going to be there. And you can be sure that we'll be talking about it here too on Type 40 Live across Rumble, X, YouTube, and on Facebook. As always, same time, probably, same space. Who knows what day of the week? Not entirely sure. Things do always tend to get a bit choppy around Christmas and New Year, but we will be here with more hot takes, pet peeves, rants, and indeed raves. How does that sound? Try stopping us. Yeah, we couldn't possibly leave you to your own devices, could we, without coming on for Doctor Who Day? And all we ask in return is some more of those comments. What do you think about the War Games in colour, about the Build-A-Bear of the 15th Doctor that's here at last? What about our countdown of the multi-Doctor stories that aren't multi-Doctor stories or even stories at all? Was that our most desperate attempt yet to scrape something together for Doctor Who Day? You know what? You're probably right. We've yanked every handle it's possible to yank over the last 5 years, and every time they move the controls around, there's yet more yanking to be done, John. That's how I... I'm a yanker until I die. Okay, so...
Absolutely.
We've got more comments in the live chat. Want more? Bloody hell, everybody. Hit that like button. So says Lee Smith. I agree with everything that Lee says. Okay, that's Type 40 Live for your Doctor Who Day 2024. It's been a good one. After all, I think there's lots coming from here And from there, but speaking of there, I think, we've just seen it on Who Photography's beautiful piece of artwork, Demat. I think this is the place that we should really close out on. And I think this could be the episode that I finish off Doctor Who Day with too. We always have the time if you have the space every day, never mind on Doctor Who Day. Speak to you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Love you, Doctor Who.
See ya.
Bye.